York Giant fans, Baddog, we are back and we are live.
It's been a minute, ain't it? It has been a minute. I think our last show was May 9th. So, been like 3 months, man. How's your summer going?
It's going all right, man. I always enjoy the summer, and I wanted to take a little bit more time this year, to enjoy my summer a bit, and when there wasn't a whole lot to talk about, but football season's around the corner, and you and I were talking about this all throughout April, May, everything else, how excited we were going to be going into this year with how active the New York Giants were this year in free agency. We loved what they did in the draft, trading down, acquiring more assets. There's a lot of positives going into this year, but we got a lot to talk about. Training camp's underway, and I'm excited to get your opinion on some of the things with the team right now, what your outlook of the team is going forward, man. But just glad to be back on with you.
Definitely, man. The weather here has actually kind of been really crappy. We got like 11 inches of rain in July. It's been very, not cold, but I mean, low 70s for July sucks, man. I want high 80s, man. Give me the heat, baby. This is what July's about. Give me the heat. I want to be down here sweating my ass off saying it's like hell's basement. Right now, it's gorgeous out.
I got a hoodie on in July.
It's insane. It's insane. Maybe we get an Indian summer or something where it's 70 degrees in November. We can only hope, right? But, yeah, man. It's been good. I've been the same way. I really haven't done a lot of Giants stuff. I've really been covering the Yankees a lot. I've had a lot of fun with that. Obviously, the Yankees made a lot of moves, and they won again tonight. So maybe, I don't know. They're very inconsistent. It's tough to tell with them. They piss me off more than any team I watch, probably. But I expect the most out of them. But football's back, and I'm glad it's back. I didn't get to the store that I wanted to go to see if they had Oktoberfest because it feels like fall. That's how cool it's been here. And I'm like, I'm ready for my Oktoberfest, my Giants football, baby. Let's go.
I can't wait, man. I'm super excited to get this season underway. Let's just say hello to everybody in the chat real quick. Before I get to the super chats, let me give a shout out to everybody. I always like to do that. Nona, what's going on? Olsen Smith, Rafael Deluna, Afghanistan, Sing in the chat. Simmer Leaks in the chat. AB in the chat. Jack in the chat. Tornado. Lloyd in the chat. See Authentic, of course, in the chat. Afghanistan, my man. Andrew. Christopher, Chicago Giants fan. Sing, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it. Everybody that's in here, I can't shout everybody out, but thank you guys for all the support you guys always show. Super excited that we're back doing this show live. We'll be live next week on Bad Dog's channel, and we'll try to get a regular day for you guys. This was just kind of the day that worked for me this week because of the NBA draft. But Sway Sports, man, thank you very much, man. Yeah, Javi, did he hit another home run? He hit one earlier. It'd be nice if they took the lead. I know he made it 4-3, but thank you very much, man. True Rappers, man, thank you very much. Glad to see this is back. Can't wait for preseason. We're 2 weeks away. And that's kind of when I start to get a little bit excited, Bad Dog. Like, training camp's nice. It's nice to get the vibes back, that football's, getting back into it. But at the same time, kind of like what we were saying about before we went live, you can't read too much into it, right? I mean, if the offense is doing bad, that might mean that the defense is doing good. You've got new players that are trying to get acclimated to everything else. We say it all the time when we do these shows early on in the process during the offseason with training camp. Most important thing for me, and I think you with training camp, get out of there healthy. Don't sustain any major injuries. Last year, of course, we had the McKinney injury, and then we went out there and we added Logan Ryan. So far this year, we've had a couple of scares, but it doesn't look like it's going to turn into anything. Parrott's going to be back, they said, soon, as well as Shane Lemieux.
Yeah, I was talking to you before, went online, and I just did a video about that, about how Daniel Jones struggled in training camp, and Kenny Golladay obviously got off to a slow start. And, I talked to you about this, and I always find it funny how so many people just comment on the title, don't actually watch the video. People saying, oh, you're panicking already, it's practice. Well, listen, I'm going to say this. Number one, I didn't panic one bit in that video. I'm just asking if we should be concerned. I know it's been a week. I mentioned that a number of times. But I'll say this about training camp and practice. Yes, I've never known which way to take it. If the offense is tearing it up, are we worried about the defense? If the offense is really stagnant, are we saying the defense is great? We worry about the offense. Like, it's hard to gauge when you're practicing. The only thing I say about practice, I equate it to poker, man. If you're playing like online poker and you're playing for fake chips, or you're playing for fake chips in real life, yeah, you're not going to win or lose anything. But what you can do is pick up bad habits that translate into playing for big money. You can definitely pick up bad habits. Even when things aren't on the line, you still want to hone your craft. So I want to hear positive things about the offense. Again, if Daniel Jones is going 18 for 3 touchdowns, I'm not about to come out and make a video like some Eagles fans going, oh my God, Daniel Jones is a Hall of Fame. Like, I'm not doing that. But at the same time, you like to hear good things about everybody. It's early. But, the offensive line is concerning to me. I don't know if we did enough. It's a big question mark. I know some people are very Confident in the offensive line?
Who? Raise your hand in the chat.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of guys say Bears are going to be okay in the offensive line.
No, I can understand some fans being like, all right, I think we could get by, but I don't think anybody could honestly say, if they're being completely honest with themselves, unless they're a complete homer, going into the year that they think this offensive line is going to be really good. And I'm not saying it may be, but there's no way maybe somebody actually believes that, but there's no way I could honestly feel that way going in, that it's definitely going to be really good. I have my hopes that Judge and Gettleman know what they're doing, and they didn't do anything to address the offensive line this year. And I think that's the major question mark going in. They let Zeitler go. They didn't do anything to replace him, and they're obviously showing a lot of confidence in the third-year players with Lemieux, with Parrott, with Thomas. But that to me, Bad Dog, and I know we might sound like a broken record. This is now the 4th season we've been doing this show together, and we say the same thing every year. It's the offensive line. That's what this season is gonna depend upon. Yeah, of course, Daniel Jones is the biggest guy, the X factor, the quarterback, the guy that we need to see to grow. But he ain't gonna grow if this offensive line doesn't take a major step forward this year.
Completely agree. It's a passing league. Is everything set up for the offense? But at the end of the day, even though it's not sexy, the game of football will always be won in the trenches. The line of scrimmage always determines who wins the game. Whoever wins that battle at the line of scrimmage is most likely going to win the game. It doesn't always happen like that, but as a rule of thumb, it's just like baseball. Pitching and defense wins over guys that hit home runs all the time. So it's a very important aspect. And when you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, who's had some injury issues, he's had some turnover problems, you want the guy to be protected. And obviously with our running back, our best player on offense coming off an ACL tear, you want him to have some holes. You don't want this guy getting hit in the backfield. You don't want him having to dance around back there and try to do too much because the offense isn't going. The offensive line is extremely important, and I'm hoping that these guys grow. I'm hoping Will Hernandez reverts back to the form he had his rookie season. I thought he looked really good. We hope Andrew Thomas builds off a solid second half of his rookie season. You hope that these guys are healthy. You hope that Nick Gates can continue to improve. He was pretty good at center last year. If we don't bring in Reeder, obviously we do that. You're probably going to move Gates to guard where Zeitler played, and I would like him there. Parrott's a question mark. Lemieux's a question mark. Both of them are injured. So, again, man, people can be like, oh, you're panicking. I'm not panicking. But let's face it. There's questions.
Yeah,
and of course, the Giants have not been good in 4 years, guys. So these are legitimate questions. I'm excited. I think the Giants did a lot this year. I love the reports about Adoree Jackson. I think that they're saying he's been awesome. I know I have a lot of confidence in our defense. I am not worried one bit about the defense. But I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of questions. I'm not saying the offense can't be good because I think it can. But there's still a lot of questions going forward. And how much of that gets answered in training camp and preseason, it's always tough to tell. We really won't know till they put them on the pads on for real and they go at it. But I would still like to hear good things about the offense.
Of course, you always want to hear good things. I don't put too much stock into good or bad, especially at this point in training camp. But it's always nice to hear good things.
Right. Yep.
Benjamin, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it, man. Great supporter of both of ours. He says, my fellas, what's popping? Let's get football season started already. Been too long, about damn time. Chris woke up from the hibernation. How are you going to take a break and not let your diet subs? I took a little bit of a break. I had to take a breather. Started a new job. Just wanted to relax during the summer, man. So I'm back. I'm going to be live all the time during football season. It was kind of the dead time after basketball season, after the draft, everything else. I'm glad that everybody's here, and thank you guys for being the best supporters on YouTube. Can never say thank you enough.
Absolutely.
And he said I had to deal with KP's nonsense for the last 3 years.
He does too. All I can say, guys, is listen. Let's give ourselves a little credit here, Chris. Again, I don't know if there's been another tandem. I know there's a lot of these shows now on YouTube, but when Chris and I started this, I really don't remember two content creators that got together and did a weekly show. I mean, like Chris said, this is our 4th season doing this. It's crazy, Chris, that it's been that long. And we really haven't experienced a lot of good Giants football. So maybe this year it would be nice. It'd be nice. Let's go.
I think we're going to get it. I think I'm not going to say Super Bowl this year, and we're going to talk more about it throughout the show, but I think we're going to have a fun season. Let's put it that way.
I hope so, man.
I really do. I think we're going to have a fun season. I think we're going to get off to a good start. Dyer, man, thank you very much, man. He says, let's go, gentlemen. Giants are back. No more injuries. Hopeful. We got some good news. Obviously, we got some scares, Diehard. And thank you for being such a great supporter of both of ours. But obviously, we got some scares earlier in the week, a couple days ago with Shane Lemieux. But Judge even went as far to say today, from what I read, actually right before we went live, that it's going to be day to day and not even week to week. So it sounds like Lemieux is going to be back pretty soon, and we need him out there. We need Parrott out there because they got to grow. JD, man, thank you very much. Are you guys feeling loony for Joe Looney? Tana, the daily injury report on the O-line is stressful. The O-line and quarterback is the season 11-6. Hashtag dog pound. What's going on, JD?
Go, baby. JD, everything you said there is right. You know, the injury report on the offensive line that is stressful. But I like the 11-6. I think it's everything, man. It's so hard because everything hinges on injuries. You know, we lost our best player really early in the season last year, and we had 3 rookies end up on our offensive line because, you know, Solder sat out. We had some injuries there. We had injuries in the wide receiving core, which was already thin as it was. So, you know, I think what's that?
Got to stay healthy. That's the name of the game.
You know, he missed 11 games. Boy, he's been awesome in camp. I'm so excited about Xavier McKinney. That's my next Giants jersey, man. I'm so excited about Xavier McKinney. Like, I've always loved the secondary because I played corner in high school, and I've always liked those safeties and corners. The interception is my favorite. Well, not when Daniel Jones is throwing them, but it's my favorite play in football. I love the defense. I love interceptions, man. I always loved that. So whenever I would play Madden years ago, I don't play it anymore, but I'd always pick a cornerback or a safety. I usually played the safety because I just love to roam around the field and try to pick everything off. So I'm excited for McKinney, man. I'm
excited for McKinney too. I think he could be an X factor for this defense this year. You pointed out the guy that I think it could potentially take this defense to the next level, and that's Adoree Jackson. Yep. If he plays at a high level. But to answer your question about Joe Looney, I mean, I don't think he's going to come in here and start, JD, to be completely honest with you. He hasn't started. You know, he's been a guy that's gotten a little bit of playing time there with the Cowboys. The Giants actually tried to sign him last year, and he's got connections to Jason Garrett. They didn't end up getting him. The Cowboys got him back, but now the New York Giants bring him in. I think it's a good signing for a depth signing, right? Jonathan Harrison's hurt. We need a backup lineman. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to come in and start. A guy like Austin Reeder, I think he could at least potentially start. But then what you got to ask yourself, Bad Dog, do you want to move Nick Gates? Because Nick Gates just got, we talk about familiarity with Daniel Jones, him being in the same scheme, changing of a center this late in the process. Maybe you don't want to have to deal with that, right? Because that could take a couple of weeks to get that rapport with your quarterback. We saw that last year with Gates. He was really bad at snapping the football the first couple of weeks. Not to say, Reeder's obviously played the center position before, but could be a little bit of an adjustment process there as well. And Gates did a pretty good job at the center spot. But I think Reeder could actually start. I don't really see that with Looney.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's something that's extremely underrated and overlooked is that quarterback center situation, because you do want them to be on the same page all the time. As a matter of fact, I was reading that Joe Judge sent Nick Gates and Daniel Jones for laps because they had a couple of false starts and they had to run some laps. So Joe Judge ain't got rid of the laps yet. But yeah,
should he? No, should he? I love the discipline.
No, I know. Hey, listen, I run laps too. What the hell? But I screw up in a video, I'll go run a lap. But which I'd be dead if I did that every time I screwed up a video. But it's an underrated aspect. The quarterback and center, obviously, they have to have the best rapport of anybody because it's the snap count, it's audibles, it's everything, and they always have to be on the same page. And I think that Nick Gates did really well at center. And he is a guard by trade, but it would not concern me if he stayed at center. I actually like him there. But I think Nick Gates is very versatile. I think he can do anything. He's been a really pleasant surprise for the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess right now, and Big Blue in the Bronx, man, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for the $1 super chat. Appreciate it. If I had to guess right now, though, the Giants have pretty much been consistent this entire offseason in saying that they want the young guys to grow. I think they're going with what they got. I think they're going to sign a lineman. I've thought this for a while, but I think it's going to be a guy that's going to come off the bench and provide his depth if one of these guys struggles or goes down with an injury. But I think they're confident with the guys they've drafted. I think they're going to go into battle with Shane Lemieux, with Will Hernandez, with Nick Gates at the center spot and Matt Barrett on the right side and Thomas on the left side. And, we could talk about all the weapons that we added, and that's all well and good, but the season ultimately is going to come down to those, in my opinion, those 3 offensive linemen, those 3 guys going into their second year. We're going to need Andrew Thomas to take a big step. We're going to need Lemieux to play at least decent in terms of pass protection. And we're going to need Matt Parrott to be a serviceable right tackle. I think that's the biggest key for this offense going into the year. And you have to hope with the new offensive line coach that we brought in with Rob Sale, he does a good job. I think he, I said it on Twitter about a month ago. I think he is the biggest X factor for this team this year is Rob Sale, the new offensive line coach, and whether or not he could get these guys to take a huge leap this year.
And that's what the coaching staff is supposed to do. It's a big reason I like Joe Judge. I think Joe Judge gets the most out of his players. And I think that's what Patrick Graham definitely did. That's what Parcells did. That's what Belichick does. Listen, people can talk about the Patriots all they want. The Patriots have never had like the most talented group, like outside of Brady and maybe Randy Moss. Is there anybody that really stood out to you during that dynasty? Like, this guy is just like an absolute superstar. No, they did it with coaching. Same thing in the Giants. Outside of Lawrence Taylor, I mean, that guy was God. But like 1990, he was nearing the end of his career. Harry Carson was goal. I mean, is there anybody there where you're like, wow, O.J. Anderson at the end of his career, Stephen Baker, Mark Ingram, were these guys great? No, but they figured out game plans that worked around the team's strengths, and they won Super Bowls. And Tom Coughlin did the same thing. So that's why I really like Joe Judge. I never felt like McAdoo did that. I never felt like McAdoo had the respect of the players, and I never felt like Pat Shurmur knew how to do that, nor did James Betcher. I mean, he was an idiot. But I do like the coaching staff. I really do. I think that they do get the most out of the players, and I do expect to see improvement. I am expecting a lot out of the Giants this year. I haven't expected that in a couple of years, but I do expect a lot more than they've shown this year for sure.
Absolutely. We're going to get more into that in a second. I just want to read a couple of these before I lose it. King Trizzy, I'll get back to yours, but I just don't want to lose these. Mike, man, thank you very much. He says it's Guardian Summer. Mike, man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the support, man. Always in my streams, always showing support, man. I really appreciate it. And Booze says, dynamic duo, let's go Giants. What's going on, Booze, man? Thank you so much for popping into the stream. And King Trizzy says, we're back. How's it going, guys? I turned 19 on Monday. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Yeah, man, I'm super excited for the season, King Trizzy. I know you're a huge Miami Heat fan as well, but obviously big Giants fan. Thank you so much for tuning in the stream, my man.
19.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine?
I forgot most of my 19th year. I was not like say it all the time. They don't call me Bad Dog for nothing. Let's put it that way. When I was 19, woo! I probably forgot more than I remember at 19, but it was a hell of a ride.
I'm not gonna be able to pull it up with the computer, but I got it on my phone. Lard Dog Sports. We all know that troll.
Oh, he was in my stream last.
He says, put that drink down and pick up a milkshake, Bad Dog. and Adil says, Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay take pressure off the old. I agree with that, Adil, and I think that's what we have to hope for this year, Adil, that the added weaponry makes the offense less predictable, and it's going to assist the offensive line. I agree with that. And we'll see what Kadarius Toney does. Let's talk a little bit about Toney, because Toney's been getting, some slack, obviously, not just with the COVID thing, but then he had the voluntary OTAs he didn't show up for. He said that he had family issues. Some people kind of pointed to the contract. There was a couple of other little things with Kadarius Toney. I'm not too worried about that. If the guy shows up on Sunday, he does his job, everybody's going to forget about this preseason stuff. What do you think Toney's role is going to be in this offense this year? We could project going forward when Sterling Shepard's off the team. But this year, with Shepard on the team, how do you think they're going to try to utilize Kadarius Toney in this offense?
I think that if Jason Garrett has some gadget plays, I think you're going to see Kadarius Toney in a lot of that. I think Kadarius Toney is not going to make an immediate impact. And again, Joe Judge has said he's not worried about all the stuff that's been going on, the distractions. Kadarius Toney's had a weird start to his Giants career. He's had the cleat issue. Like you said, he had the COVID. He had the family thing. He left practice early. He wasn't at the OTAs. So there's been a lot of things. But like you said, as long as he shows up every week, we will forget about all this stuff. But I can see Kadarius Toney lining up in the slot. I can see bubble screens. I can see him lining up outside. I can see him doing end arounds, double reverses, and maybe even a reverse where he throws a little bit because he was a quarterback in high school. So I can definitely see Kadarius Toney having that role in his rookie season where, like I said, if Garrett has some trickeration that he wants to try to use, I think Kadarius Toney will be a part of that, as well as maybe lining up all over the field. But we're going to see how creative Jason Garrett is, because that is like a Swiss Army knife that you have at wide receiver. And I do think, being that he was their 20th pick this year, the first round pick, I do think that they're going to try to get him involved. And I think it'll be nice to have versatility on offense where you ain't got to worry about Daniel Jones just dropping back and trying to throw. Keep that defense guessing. So I think that's what Kadarius Toney's role will be. I could see Kadarius Toney being like a Tavon Austin type where he just does a lot of things and
hopefully better.
Maybe he is. Well, yeah, hopefully better. But I can see him having 400 yards receiving, a couple hundred yards rushing, and like I said, maybe a couple of passes or something. He's not going to light the world on fire. I'm not expecting him to go for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, but I think that he'll have a role in a lot of different things that the Giants do as far as trickeration plays go.
Yeah, and I also think he's going to be used in special teams. Whether it be the kick, and he's a huge improvement if he is the kick returner. We've seen the highlight tapes. We've seen what this guy could do in space.
Our kick returners suck.
Dion Lewis was horrible last year.
Oh, man.
So that would be a huge improvement as well, just a home run threat and Wildcat. I think he's going to be utilized in Wildcat, and I could see it around the red zone. I could see that. I could see them bringing the extra block or him lining up out of the shotgun with both the threat to run and potentially pass here and there. I could see that being a nice little, thing thrown into the offense. But in terms of, I'm with you. I don't think he's going to have, if you're a fantasy guy that's expecting him to go out there and catch for 1,000 yards in the rookie year, I just don't see the target share there. You look at this team, Shepard's obviously going to be the defined slot. Slayton, I think, will be on the outside. You're going to have Galladay. Tony's going to be out there. They're going to find ways to get him involved in the offense. But I think next year is where you really start to see him get an expanded role with this offense. Unless, of course, there's injuries, which we all hope there's not going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree.
And Adam, man, thank you very much. Says bring Neo on. Neo is upstairs, but Adam, I will definitely next time on Instagram. I said I don't know when I'll be on Instagram again, but I show a picture of Neo again every now and again on Instagram. You can check out Neo. And Grayson, man, thank you very much. Traveling to New York for the Giants-Cowboys game on December 19th. Do you think the Delta variant will change things and force the NFL to not allow fans? There's no way of me knowing that, Grayson. I can't predict the future. It seems like the NFL is cracking down with this because, well, quite honestly, they don't want these rules, and we could talk about whether we agree with the rules or not. The rules are the rules. The teams have to play by them. They don't want these rules to affect the team and them to forfeit games this year. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this thing's going to blow up and they're going to be super, restrictive in terms of who they allow to go to games. Hopefully that's not the case. I'm looking forward to going to the Eagles game this year and hopefully maybe even one more. But yeah, there's no way I can predict the future.
Your guess is as good as anybody else's. Scientists don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hope not. Let's just hope not. Let's just go with that.
Yeah. And Cody, man, thank you very much. Chris, pick up any snatch that. Oh God, Cody. Yeah, we'll talk about that on a nonsense stream, Cody. We'll talk about that on a nonsense stream. Oh, Baddog. Well, I'm back. Well, I'm back.
That's Cody. Bang hole, baby.
I'm getting thrown back into getting used to being live again.
Yeah,
and, JD, man, thank you very much. Ojulari may start week 1, sack leader, interception leader. Yeah, I think Ojulari, there's a very good chance Ojulari is going to start week 1 because when you look at our edge rushers right now, O'Shane Zimenez is still hurt, last I heard, and they weren't big fans of him last year, even before the injury. He wasn't getting a ton of snaps. I don't think he fits the scheme that well. Lorenzo Carter's coming from an Achilles injury. We all hope he's good, but we don't know. So I think Ojulari is going to be in the starting lineup. And I do think he's going to get, I don't know how, what his snap percentage will be, but I think he's going to get his fair share of opportunities. And I'll tell you what, I think he's got a chance to be the sack leader. I think it's very hard to predict this year. I think, just like last year, it could be a number of guys. Leonard Williams could easily lead the team in sacks again. But I think Azeez Ojulari is not a bad bet this year because I just think he's going to get the opportunity. And I think with the better coverage this year by adding Adoree Jackson, it's going to make it that much easier for these pass rushers to get after the quarterback.
Yep, I agree. I definitely think Ojulari is going to start. I think Ojulari is already better than Lorenzo Carter and O'Shane Zimenez. To be honest with you, I just think that those guys have had. You hear this word thrown around all the time: potential. Try to pay your bills on potential. You have to either show up or you don't. And we've heard this for years. And yeah, they're athletic and yeah, they're great, but everybody in the NFL is athletic. Ojulari obviously is a very raw guy. And again, there's that word athletic. But I think he'll win this job in training camp. I do think that'll start week 1. I'd be surprised if he didn't. And if he doesn't, I think he'll get a ton of snaps, honestly. Sack leader, I'm going Leonard Williams for the same reason Chris said that. I think the coverage is going to be great. I think there's going to be a lot of coverage sacks for the Giants this year. And perhaps that's why the Giants didn't really address a true defensive end. I think they feel like they're, Patrick Graham likes to bring pressure from a bunch of different places, but with a really good secondary, you're going to get some coverage sacks. And maybe he feels that that's good enough. And interception leader, Xavier McKinney, baby. Come on. My band's going to blow up this year. I'm ready for it. 6 picks for McKinney. Let's go.
I'm going to go Saquon Barkley. I probably should go Leonard Williams. I think he's obviously the favorite, but I'll go Ojulari. And interception leader, I'm going to go with Dory Jackson. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities on the other side, opposite Bradbury. I think the Giants are going to get decent pressure after the quarterback with their reception. And, yeah, I think Dory Jackson runs himself into 5-6 picks this year. And I'll have him being the interception leader this year. And, Janice, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Hi, Chris and Baddog. Excited to be a part of your stream. I'm excited for you to be here, Janice. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Janice, my lady, how you doing? Thank you for the sports cards. I appreciate it. Got them today. Love them. Always love sports cards. So thank you, Janice. I really appreciate it.
And I see MYB in the chat. Just want to say hello to him. I saw him briefly as I was skimming through. What's going on, MYB, man? Glad to see you, buddy. Adam Troy says, do you think if Saquon wasn't hurt, we would have made the playoffs? Best duo on YouTube, go G-Man. I'm going to say yes. Because when you look at it, Bad Dog, it's one more game. One more game, we would have made the playoffs last year. And yes, do I think Saquon Barkley would have made a game's difference? Yes. I just think he alone, even when he's not going, you saw it in the Steelers game last year. I say it all the time. He couldn't run to save his life because we couldn't block. The defenders were in the backfield before he even touched the ball. But Daniel Jones had his most passing yards the whole season. He had 2 of his 11 touchdown passes in that game. We had the big touchdown pass to Slayton. It helps stretches the field. It opens up the offense. He's a guy you have to game plan for. So, yes, I think they probably win 2 more games if Saquon Barkley was healthy last year and didn't go down with an injury. I
completely agree. We're in the playoffs if Evan Ingram makes a catch. Saquon Barkley definitely would have helped out in the red zone a lot more because defense is definitely – not that Wayne Gallman did a bad job, and the Giants found ways to run. And Wayne Gallman, again, especially that game against Seattle, I mean, the Giants really figured it out. That's what they were going to do. They played like the 1990 Giants. We're going to run, and we're going to play defense, and that's what they were going to do. But with Saquon Barkley being a home – Wayne Gallman was not the home run. You're not going to worry about Wayne Gallman taking 180 yards at a house. You do have to worry about that with Saquon Barkley. It adds a totally different dynamic. So I agree with Chris. Definitely. I don't think we just win the division. I think we win it convincingly with the way this team played going down the stretch. The offensive line got a lot better run blocking during the year. Obviously, the first couple of games, they were not used to the system. They played under Colombo. Colombo was a disaster. And the Giants were trying to figure things out because they didn't have a preseason. But by the middle of the season, after the bye, you saw the offensive line. Pass blocking still a massive question. It was not good. But run blocking, they were really good. So, yeah, I definitely – and the Giants lost a lot of close games, man. So, yes, I think the Giants probably would have been a 500 team if Barkley was healthy.
Yeah, I would say minimum 7-9, probably 8-8. I think he'd make a 2-game difference last year. But we'll never know. I'm just excited to see if he get healthy and get on the field this year. Let's talk about that real quick. The Giants have kind of been, I guess, like protective in terms of how they've handled Barkley this year and putting a deadline and saying when they think he'll be back, which is you expect, right? Judge comes from the Belichick way of thinking with the Patriots. They're not going to tell you anything. And I like the way they've handled it. Do you think Barkley's going to be ready week 1? And if he is, do you think he'll get a full allotment of touches or they'll ease him back in?
I don't think he's ready for week 1. I honestly don't. An ACL tear usually takes about a year. And he didn't have the surgery until November.
And it was worse than just an ACL tear. It was, yeah.
There was a lot. It was reconstructive knee surgery. So at this point in September would be 10 months. Obviously he's on the PUP list, so he's not going to be playing in the preseason. He hasn't played since September of last year. So he's got to get back in football shape. He's got to have to get his endurance, his wind. You can train all you want in the gym.
Right.
Now, take it from me. I'm a guy that trains all the time in the gym, but when I go out and try to run like I used to when COVID shut down, I can't run like that anymore. I could build my way back up to running like that again, but I can't just go out and do it. So there's a difference between working out in the gym, and then getting in a game situation, getting in football shape. So I think they will ease him, but they have to. I mean, you can't take a chance. This guy's your best player. You can't take a chance of rushing him back too early and then him having another issue, even if it's not his knee, but he's favoring the knee and then he hurts something else. Because that's what happened to Robert Griffin. They forced this guy back way too quick, and he was never the same.
Yep.
Now, Barkley's in that realm of Adrian Peterson. They're freaks in nature. And Adrian Peterson tore an ACL twice.
But you don't play with that injury. You don't play.
No. So I don't think he'll be ready for week 1. I would be surprised. And if by chance he is, I mean, maybe he suits up. Maybe they use him as a decoy. If he's in that game at all, he's not getting a full workload. I'll be surprised if Saquon Barkley gets a full workload in any game in September. Now, maybe that's doom and gloom. Bad dog, you'd be negative again. No, I'm being cautious with our best player because you don't want him to have another serious injury and miss the entire season again. So, and I think the Giants coaching staff will feel the same way. Yeah. But that's up to the trainers and the doctors. What the hell do I know about that? I hope he's ready week 1. I'm just not counting on
it. I hope I'm the same as you. I don't want to set my expectations too high that he's going to be back. So I'm going to go in with moderate expectations and hope that he's a full goal by week 3 or week 4. I'm going to skip a couple of these. I'm going to get back to them. I don't want to lose these ones on the phone. Yuri, man, thank you very much. Thoughts on the Nick Chubb deal? Would we give the same deal to Barkley? That was a discount in my opinion. And John says, Stella and stand up. Giants stink. Fly, Eagles, fly. What's going on, John? I honestly didn't even get to see. I saw that he signed today. I didn't get to see the details of the Nick Chubb signing. So I don't know the dollar amount. Did you see the dollars and cents?
I did not see the dollars and cents.
I saw he signed, but I didn't see the dollars and cents. Here's what I'm going to say about Saquon Barkley, though. I've said it several times. We're not signing Saquon Barkley unless he proves he can stay healthy for 17 games. Right. And if he proves he can stay healthy for 17 games and he elevates the offense, we're going to sign him. Period. End of story. That's what's going to happen at the end of the year. Get him and draft this guy second overall. If he proves he's healthy and elevates the offense, he's going to be a Giant.
Yep, I agree.
Benjamin, thank you very much. Scherzer turned it to the Dodgers, Westbrook to the Lakers. Man, this season is going to be a lot of fun. Listen, I appreciate KP not being a mine. What's going on, Benjamin? And JT Sports Talk says, love Baddog tearing Philly fans a new one. Why do they think they're making the playoffs? Am I missing something? Is there a unit I'm underrating?
You know why they think that? Who was that that said that?
That was JD Sports Talk.
JD Sports. Well, trust me, there's a Philly 500 troll video coming out very soon. It'll probably be around the beginning of the year, and it's going to be good. Why do they think that? The 420 crew, dude, they're full of 420 over there in Philadelphia, man. They don't think clearly. They are cheerleaders, man. Everybody's God when they hit the Eagles. It doesn't matter. You're not they're just insane, man. They're insane. Oh, we're 12-5. Yeah. They want to go 12-5 in the SEC, okay?
Here's what I'll say about the Eagles. They have a lot of ifs. And they have, we talk about how many ifs we have. They have a lot of ifs, right? Their offensive line, I'll be the first to say, when it's healthy, is a good offensive line. It may be the best offensive line in this division when they're healthy. The problem is their offensive line has been decimated by injuries each of the last 2 years, 3 years, and conventional wisdom would tell you they're probably not going to stay healthy. Jalen Hurts, he sucks. I don't know what to say, man. I'm not even going to be nice about Jalen Hurts.
He sucks.
Jalen Hurts sucks. I'm sorry, Eagles fans, if you're watching. I'm not scared of Jalen Hurts. You talk about Daniel Jones, you make fun of him. I'll take Daniel Jones 10 times out of 10 over Jalen Hurts. Guy doesn't scare me.
Not even a question.
I think we'll keep him in check. So I think Eagles fans are trying to convince themselves that Jalen Hurts could be a good quarterback, which, I mean, if we're being honest, Giant fans do the same thing with their guys. But I think they, like you said, they overrate their players. And I think we're going to beat up on the Eagles this year. I think we're going to sweep them. Yeah, we'll rock, paper, scissors, Sirianni at midfield before the game to see who wins.
RSP Sirianni, man. Rock, papers, or RPS Sirianni's his new name, man. Rock, paper, scissors.
Let me get to LA Lou, and then I'm going to get to Chase. LA Lou, man, what's going on, man? Hey, Chris, it's been a while. This is a great time of year. Dodgers, Yankees, and Mets in a couple of weeks. Football. Let's hang a while. Lou, man, glad to see you, buddy. And, yeah, your Dodgers got to be the favorites to win the World Series now with what
Definitely
you did.
After that,
but, yeah, man, I just hope that DeGrom could come back. We'll see. But it's been a fun year so far with the Mets, and obviously the Yankees were super active at the trade deadline, get a couple of lefty bats.
My man Rizzo, man, another home run tonight. Let's go. They added, the Yankees are going to be good now. They added a couple of Italians.
Now, they did. Rizzo.
They went back to the 50s, when you in the third, not the 50s, but, you had DiMaggio, Rizzuto, Berra, Billy Martin was Italian, so you got all those guys in there. You're going to do all right.
Chase, man, thank you very much. I know this isn't Giants related, but what do you guys think of Texas and Oklahoma moving to the SEC? Boomer Sooner. I'm going to let Bad Dog start with that one because that obviously affects him a lot more than me.
Chase, I'm a big Sooner fan, man. I don't know if you know that or not, but yeah, Boomer Sooner, baby. I love Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC. I love the fact, listen, Oklahoma dominated the Big 12 since I started watching them, and Oklahoma played like 2 good teams a year. Yeah, Oklahoma State, Texas. That's about it, man. Obviously, Iowa State may be the second best team in the Big 12. That tells you where the state of the Big 12. I'm excited to watch Oklahoma play teams like Alabama, Florida, Auburn, LSU, and Georgia on a weekly basis. They'll kick the shit out of Tennessee. They'll beat the hell out of Arkansas. They'll kick the hell out of Kentucky. I don't really know which. I know they're going to be in the East or West as far as the SEC goes. I would imagine it'd be the SEC West, but I'm not sure if they've decided that. Obviously, they'll continue to beat the hell out of Texas like they always do, but I'm excited. I like that move. I'm excited for Oklahoma to be part of the SEC because I love that conference, and I'm looking forward to the games. Oklahoma will have real competition. I also think that'll help them going into the playoffs. And I also think it'll help them with recruiting. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Oklahoma joining the SEC.
I would have thought you would have said the opposite, because obviously I think now it's going to be much harder for you guys to make the playoffs, being that you're in the same conference. I mean, you look at that conference now, Baddog. I said on Twitter the other day when they announced it, in a couple of years, every first-round pick is going to be out of that conference. I mean, LSU, Georgia, Alabama, Florida. Now you add Oklahoma to that, Texas. I mean, that conference is stacked. But obviously, like you said, it will probably help with recruiting, being in the SEC. So
I just love the fact Oklahoma's got to play real competition. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun kicking the living hell out of Kansas, 63-14. Now that's fun, but I want to watch Oklahoma, Georgia. I want to watch Oklahoma, Alabama. I don't care if Oklahoma gets their face beat in. I want to see that. So I'm excited.
Be the best. You got to beat the best. Be the best.
I like them playing in the SEC. I do.
All right. Juicy says, can't wait. I'll be going to the LA game. Hype. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I may go to a road game. I haven't decided yet, but that's awesome. And that looks like a great new stadium. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, buddy. And Wolf says, Baddog, what's your max bench?
Ed, when I weighed 230 pounds, my max bench was 335. I don't really bench anymore. It messes your shoulder up. I like using the dumbbells much better. It works your isolator muscles, your stabilizer muscles, and your right and left arms both have to push the weight up. The most I can do at this point is 100. At 175 pounds, the most I can push up is 110-pound dumbbells. Now, I can work out with 110s. If I were to max something out, I don't know, because I can't. My wrists are small, so I can't kick those weights back and push them up. If somebody were to hand them to me, like up here, like a bench where you start up here, maybe I could do 130s once. So that'd be like 260. But I really don't know. I don't bench. I've never understood why everybody's fascination when someone works out is the bench. Chest muscles are cosmetic.
It's just a go-to question.
It's an ego thing. Like nobody ever says, Baddog, what can you leg press?
Right.
What can you push in a sled?
It's like the macho question. It's the macho.
It really is. The legs are most important to your body. The lower half's the most important part of your body. Everything else works off your legs. I say it all the time, man. You're going to have a really nice house above ground, but if the foundation's weak, you're weak. That house is weak. Every bit of strength in your body is from the top of your knees to the bottom of your chest. It's all your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your core. That's where your strength is. I've never understood the bench question, but I have very long arms too. So benching's always been weaker. And
here's my answer. I can't bench with bad. Sticky fingers, man. Thank you very much. In my opinion, quarterbacks make O-lines look good, not vice versa. I agree to a certain extent. If we suck, it's because DJ's making bad decisions. Plain and simple, get rid of the ball. I'm going to agree to a certain extent, Sticky Fingers, but not completely agree. Because I'm going to give you a perfect example, Sticky Fingers. I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl, because I did. How did Pat Mahomes look when he had both of his tackles out, Baddog? How did the best quarterback on the planet, how did he look when he was missing his two tackles in that game? He scored 9 points, right?
Offensive line is very important. It just is. Daniel Jones, I feel like he could be a top 12, maybe scrape the top 10 if he is what I think he can be. He'll never be elite. He's not, people talk about the offensive line. Deshaun Watson excelled with a terrible offensive line and no DeAndre Hopkins. Russell Wilson has excelled with a terrible offensive line most of his career. But even Aaron Rodgers is good, but he's not as good as he was when his offensive line is better. But he's usually had but those guys are different breeds.
Yeah.
Your offensive line is extremely important because a quarterback has a clock in his head. And if that clock is, I got to get rid of it in 2 seconds, but he's getting hit in 1.5 seconds because somebody's missing a block or somebody's whiffing on a block or whatever, the The quarterback.
I do think the quarterback does have a major impact, though, and it's why I talked about when Jones came in as a rookie. I think a lot of the poor play in the offensive line had to do with that because of the pre-snap reads and how he adjusts the offensive line. A rookie's learning on the fly, so I do think a quarterback has a lot to do with it. You know, you look at the Tampa Bay Bucs offensive line; it magically got a lot better when Tom Brady got there. Definitely helps. He's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. But I definitely think you still need at least a near average offensive line to be able to put up points in this league. You need to be able to block and have an unpredictable offense.
And the worse your quarterback is, the better your O-line needs to be.
Exactly.
Like I said, Daniel Jones to me is middle of the road. So our offensive line needs to be middle of the road. If our offensive line is middle of the road, I think Daniel Jones excels. If it's below average, he's going to struggle. Yeah. If it's above average, which you hope, he'll be really good. That's what you got to hope for. But I really do. That's the way I equate it. The better your quarterback, the worse your offensive line can be, and vice versa. Like Jalen Hurts is going to need his offensive line to be the best in the league, and he'll still suck. So there you go, Eagle.
Sacred Dust going to get to yours in a second. I just don't want to lose these. Adam, man, thank you very much. Brought this up the other day, but interested in Bad Dog's opinion on Bart Scott saying Daniel Jones is more athletic than Dak. I agree, but not a better quarterback yet.
Yeah, I read that, and I completely agree with you. I think that he is a better athlete than Dak Prescott, but he's not a better quarterback. I completely agree with that take. Completely.
Yeah, I don't think. And the Gorn, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Chris, pick up any gabagool over the break. I did not. But no, I agree with that. Obviously, I think Daniel Jones is a better athlete. The guy had the fastest. What did he run, like 22 miles an hour last year? He had like the fastest time by a quarterback.
Yeah, he was up there with Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, so he can fly. Yeah,
I would say he's at least adequate, even at a bare minimum with Dak in terms of an athlete. So I'd agree with that. But in terms of a quarterback, I mean, let's be real, Bad Dog. He's not there yet. I mean, maybe he could reach that if the Giants give him a better support system, but he's got a ways to go.
He's the one guy that I'm waiting for, because when I did the Daniel Jones stuff his rookie season, I said Daniel Jones will be better than Dwayne Haskins, is better than Mitch Trubisky.
You're better than Dwayne Haskins.
Yes, I am. That's true. Better than Sam Darnold. He is. Dak Prescott was the fourth guy, so I'm right about 3 out of 4. It's Danny Dimes, man. I want Danny Dimes, and I want to see him be better than Dak Prescott. I'm waiting for that to happen. But Dak's pretty damn good. So if Daniel Jones is that good, we'll be really happy.
Oh, if Daniel Jones puts up Dak numbers, we're cruising this year.
Yeah.
Subo, man, thank you very much. I got nothing. Just great to see you guys back. Subo, man, thank you so much, man.
Good to be back, baby.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the stream. And Jose Altuve says, I did not win today, Bad Dog and Entertainer. Sorry to hear that, Jose.
You can't win them all, Jose. You did whoop their ass last night, at least from what I was seeing. And I appreciate you hanging out and missing the first inning because you were hanging out with me during the Yankee game. I appreciate that.
let me get to Sacred Dust. He's going to want you first. He says, can I get a
$5 boom? There you go, buddy.
And he says, I hear David Sills is having a great camp. He was in Arizona with Daniel Jones, too. Could be a sleeper threat on wide receiver. Yeah, you know what? David Sills has kind of been that guy, or one of the guys that's been talked about as a guy that could really crack this roster and do damage. And I hope he does. I mean, he was a guy that last year, him and Bachman were kind of the two receivers last year that everybody was hyping up, and he got hurt right before they did the rosters. So I think he would have made the team last year. But Bad Dog, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm rooting for Sills. I mean, he seems like a hard worker. He seems like a guy that's really put in a lot of work with this team to try to crack the roster. I don't see it. I mean, you look how deep this wide receiving core is. I mean, you're talking about Dante Pettis, a former second-round pick, right now is 6th on our depth chart. And then you're talking about C.J. Board, who's a special teams, specialist, probably is our 7. And I don't think we're going with 7. We only went with 5 last year. So I just don't see it. I don't see, unless there's injuries, I don't see how Sills is going to make this team.
Yeah, and then you have Austin Mack, although he got hurt today, but there's another guy that you have out there. So, yeah, the wide receiving core is very deep. It's very deep, especially you drafted Kadarius Toney and you added Kenny Galladay. So now it got even deeper. So Sills is going to have a tough time making it out, unless he makes it as a special teamer. But
I said, there could be injuries, which hopefully there's not.
And there probably will be. I mean, let's face it, it's football.
Yeah. He's a former quarterback.
He's got long odds.
Yeah, long odds. Yeah. Yuri, man, thank you very much. Oh, we already read that, actually. Thoughts on the Nick Chubb deal. We already read that. And we already read John's. I just I don't like to miss those. And I think we got Benjamin's as well. Yeah, Scherzer and to the Dodgers. So we should be caught up, but I just want to make sure. The latest one I see here is John Kim. So I'm going to read that. and then we'll pull up a couple here. John Kim says, thoughts on Todd Davis and Looney signing. Yeah, we talked about that briefly, John, at the start of the stream. Todd Davis, to me, and maybe he'll make the team, maybe he won't. He's obviously got experience in the NFL. I think he had like 135 tackles 2 years ago. He's been around the league. Joe Judge said very nice things about him, but I don't even think he'd be on this team right now, if I'm being honest. Had Blake Martinez not had the COVID, and Reggie Ragland, I think, has some kind of injury. Had they been healthy, they probably wouldn't have even signed the guy. I think they signed him because they're kind of thin at that position right now. They're starting Carter Coughlin in practice, and they're starting, I think, Tate Crowder. But yeah, I mean, if he's good, he can make the team. Judge talked about how he could impact the special teams as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just need bodies in training camp. So again, and it's another guy with just long shot outs.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no harm in bringing him in for a look.
Yeah, I mean, last year Devontae Downs made the team, so anybody could.
Yeah, but that was not good.
Yeah, it was not. It was not good.
That was a downer, if I may.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Oh, good word usage.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, what's going on, man? Snoop Dogg here, 420 Crew. Smoke them if you got them. I'm with Benjamin. 16-year-olds from Pennsylvania don't deserve mods. He's not a fan of KP. Snoop Dogg.
No, he got removed from mine.
And Wyatt, thank you so much for becoming a member. Stand up, new member Wyatt Workman, man. Welcome to the squad. Big Daddy, man. Thank you so much, man, for the $2 donation. Big Daddy's the man. Always in all my streams. A very knowledgeable Giants fan. Glad to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're enjoying your summer, man. Thank you so much, man, for the $2 super sticker. Super excited to talk Giants football with you this year. And let's get Jose. Did I get Jose? No, I didn't.
My hands seem so big. I don't know if they're getting bigger or what. Like
your hands?
Yeah, my hands look like they're getting bigger.
Maybe the cans are just getting smaller.
Maybe the cans are getting smaller. I get my money's worth.
And Jose Altuve, thank you very much. Knock, knock. Who's there? No playoffs for the Yanks. I think.
Hey, Jose. We've won like 5 out of our last 6, and we got Italians now. So now we're coming. The Yankees have an easy schedule. If they're ever going to make a run at this wild card, now's the time to do it. They got to actually get a damn sweep tomorrow. Can they sweep somebody, damn it?
And then he says, knock, knock, who's there? No playoffs for the Mets. We'll see. We got to get healthy, but right now we're not playing well. Thankfully,
they play a crappy division. They're probably going to get there.
I was going to say, nobody in our division's playing well, so
nobody wants that division.
We're kind of hanging around right now.
The NFC East of last year.
And Wyatt says, sexy Dexy or an Andrew Thomas jersey, color rush. Okay, my second part of the question, I think you go color rush. I think color rush, we say it all the time. That's my favorite jersey, the Giants. Where obviously you love the traditional blue, but I love the color rush jersey, so I would go with the color rush. As far as Dexter Lawrence or Andrew Thomas, I have an Andrew Thomas jersey. I bought one last year. I'm a big offensive line guy, but I think Dexter Lawrence is a guy that could definitely break out this year. And if you're a fan of the big defensive guys in the middle, you go with that. I think both of them will have a long career with the Giants. I would guess Thomas is probably the better investment if you're looking for a guy that's going to be here maybe for the next 10 to 15 years. You've seen what the Giants have done with defensive tackles in the past. Not to say that Dexter Lawrence is strictly a DT, but I don't know. I think most fans would go with Dexter Lawrence because they don't usually go with the offensive lineman. But what about you, Baddog? What are you going with there?
I repeat the question. I was looking at
Andrew Thomas or Dexter Lawrence. What jersey are you going with?
Well, Chris is right. I think Andrew Thomas is probably a guy that's a better bet to be a long-term on the New York Jets. At least you hope so. Left tackle is so important. So for a right-handed quarterback. But I think that you have more of a chance. But I'm a defensive guy. I'm always a defensive guy. I'd always take the defense before the offense unless it's, like a Saquon Barkley who's just a superstar or a quarterback. But, that's tough, man. That's tough.
I love Dexter.
I would go Andrew Thomas for the simple fact not many people, Chris has one, but not many people buy offensive lineman jerseys.
I had to do it. I had to get a hog. I got to get a hog jersey.
I hear you, man. I hear you, brother. I got you.
And Dharma says, can we talk about? Oh yeah, I'm surprised we didn't talk about this yet. I kind of just put it out of my mind, Baddog, because I was like, it's not even worth talking about.
Kelvin Benjamin. I didn't see the thing with it.
Can we talk about the Kelvin Benjamin scrub-a-dub?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it real quick, and then we'll get your opinion, Chris.
Yeah.
Kelvin Benjamin's opinion of Joe Judge is worth as much as my opinion. It doesn't matter. The guy's been in the league for 4 years. He's a freaking nobody. Him ripping Joe Judge is the equivalent of me ripping. Do you think Joe Judge gives a shit what I think? No, because my opinion means nothing. That's Kelvin Benjamin's opinion. Who gives a damn? The guy hit himself out of the league. Get your ass in shape. Come in and perform. They gave you a chance.
Let me break this down. And I saw some people on Twitter had the nerve to say, is Dave Gettleman at fault for this? What are you talking about? But we'll get more into that in a second. Kelvin Benjamin, okay, we all know going into training camp, this guy, the reputation is that he eats a lot of cheeseburgers. He's had weight problems throughout his entire career, and that has a lot and I'm not trying to make fun of him, right? People have weight problems. I get it. It's an addiction. A lot of times people eat a lot, whatever. But he's had weight problems, and the Giants know that going in. Joe Judge is a disciplinarian. 2.5 months ago, Joe Judge told him, listen, we want you to be at 251 by the start of training camp. You're 268. That's pretty reasonable, Baddog. 17 pounds in 9 or 10 weeks sounds pretty reasonable to me. I think the average person, if they were going to potentially get paid a couple of $1 million, could lose that weight if they had to, right? Then he has the nerve to act like he's a victim because he made it sound like his demands were too high. No, you're by the way, you're not Saquon Barkley. Okay, I know you're a former first-round pick, and maybe you have these maybe you have this you think higher yourself than what you really are as a player at this point in time because of your history where you were a former first-round pick, but that's not the way it is anymore. You're a back end of the roster guy at best. He should be coming in his best behavior. If Joe Judge wanted 251, you should be 248. And not only did he not hit the 251, he was 265. He came in at 268. He gained 3 pounds. And he had the nerve to go at Joe Judge. Are you kidding me? I couldn't believe it. Something.
I lost 17 pounds in 3 weeks, and I wasn't doing that for anything. So if I can lose 17 pounds in 3 weeks, and at that time I weighed 229. So if I can lose 17 pounds in my advanced age, without all the trainers and everything that they have at their disposal, this fat ass could have lost 17 pounds in 10 weeks. You have a chance to get back in the NFL. Like you said, I would have been, if somebody gave me an opportunity that I lost out on years ago, I would have done every single thing in my power to get on. I have a second chance at this instead of blowing it. And then listen, unfortunately, this is a lot, not that Keller, it's today's society. You fail and you blame somebody else. That's what that is. I failed. It's got to be someone else's fault. I can't look in the mirror. I can't take accountability for me screwing up or me failing. I got to blame somebody else. It's somebody else's fault that I messed up. It's bullshit.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I love, a lot of people might say, oh, Joe Judge is too hard. First off, Joe Judge didn't cut him. Okay. He wanted to give him a fine because he didn't come in at the weight that he told him. And then the way Kelvin Benjamin reacted, he essentially quit. So he didn't really get rid of him. But I love the way that Joe Judge handled it. He said, listen, nobody's above anybody else, okay? You don't do the things that I ask of you, there's going to be consequences. And he's trying to build a culture, and if you're not getting players that are going to buy in, not everybody's going to be able to play for Joe Judge. Not everybody's going to want to be a part of this. Right. But if you don't want to be, he's going to get rid of you real quick. And I love that we had a quick reaction to that.
You just say, like I said, you have a second chance, especially at something like playing in the NFL. You need to take it seriously. Like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but how can you possibly blame Joe Judge because you screwed up? Like, I don't understand that.
It doesn't make sense. David, man, thank you very much, man, for the $2 donation. I appreciate it. He says, Baddog the GOAT will agree Lakers in 5.
Hey, Lakers going to be fun, man. And Russell Westbrook, it's going to be another fun season of Laker basketball.
If the Lakers stay healthy, it's stemming. If the Nets and the Lakers stay healthy, that's the NBA Finals. I mean, it's just facts.
The Nets won't make it, man. They got James Harden. That's a loser. Knicks will beat the Nets this year.
We got to see what we got to do. We haven't done much so far. LA Lou, man, thank you very much.
Lillard's coming to the Knicks.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Then I'll get a little bit excited.
They should. They need to do that. The Knicks can't draft. Can they just send all their draft picks? They got cap. So send R.J. Barrett over there with some draft picks and get Damian Lillard. Get that guy to the goal.
I don't want to trade Barrett, though.
For Damian Lillard, yes, you do.
But I don't think we win a championship with Damian Lillard. And then you're giving away all your draft picks. You're giving away your young.
They can't draft. They don't draft well.
I get it, but I don't. Unless you're getting another superstar with Lillard, I don't want to make that move.
They draw more superstars in New York.
If we get another superstar, then I'll do it. But you got to get another superstar with it.
They hate it. It'll bring superstars. Damian Lillard needs to be in the Garden.
That'd be nice.
He needs to be there. He's wasted away in Portland. Nobody watches Portland. Bring him to the Mecca.
Lou, man, thank you very much. Daniel Jones is the second best quarterback in the East. That's true. It's not saying a whole lot, but that is true. Possibly the first because we don't know how Prescott will be. He's better than Hurts, and Washington football is a question mark. Well, yeah, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick is – I'll be fair. Ryan Fitzpatrick's been a middle-of-the-road quarterback the last couple of years. But the thing with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think a lot of people look at his stats, and his stats are pretty good. I remember when we played the Bucs. I think it was the first year we did this show. I think it was 2018 when we played the Bucs when he was the quarterback. And he was having a great year going into that game. I think he had like the best QB rating in the league, and then he threw like 4 picks. So, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think his stats are always misleading because when you look at his stats at the end of the year, you'll say, oh, he had a pretty good year. But when you dive into it, you'll say, oh, well, he had 5 great games, and then he had 5 atrocious games.
Yep.
He's never in the middle. So that's why I don't know how good of a fit Ryan Fitzpatrick was for the Washington football team, because I look at Washington, Baddog, and I say to myself, okay, they've got maybe the best defensive line in football. They've got one of the top 3 or 4 overall defenses. They've got weapons on offense. They really just need a guy that's not going to turn the football over and not lose them football games. And I look at Fitzpatrick and I say to myself, this is a guy, yeah, he's going to have his games where he balls out, but he's also going to have 3 or 4 games where he by himself is going to lose you the game. And that's why I don't know if Fitzpatrick was a great fit for the Washington football team.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Washington didn't try to find a way to draft a quarterback this year. You would think they would have traded up because they really are a quarterback away from being like a really scary team. Like if they had a good quarterback, I'm just going to use Dak Prescott as an example. If Dak Prescott was on Washington, they'd probably win 11 or 12 games. They'd probably run away with the division. But because they don't, that's the most important position of any team. It's still a major question mark how good or bad their offense will be. So we'll see. But again, until Washington beats us, it's much like the Eagles fans feel about us. It's just like we never worry about the Giants. Like I just don't worry about Washington. I know that's coming to an end eventually. We play them tight all the time, but we find ways to win. They have not beaten Daniel Jones yet. I hope that continues, but eventually they're going to. They're a good team. That defense is very scary. Chase Young is a stud. They're just I don't know what Fitzpatrick's going to be. I hope he sucks. I hope he's terrible.
We all hope he sucks.
I know. I hope it's Heineke at some point. And, Heineke really struggled in the playoffs. So he doesn't scare you either. Yeah, their quarterbacks don't scare you. So, I don't know. That'll be good game. Washington Giants.
I think they're a good team. And I'm looking forward to that Thursday night game. But they don't scare me. I said it the other day, Bad. Yes,
scares me.
I was going to say, there's games where, yes, of course I'm going to pick the Giants to lose. I've got them at 9-8, maybe 10-7. That's where I've got them. So, of course, there's going to be games from within the season I'm going to pick them to lose. But unlike last year, where I was scared of 5 or 6 of our opponents before the year started because I recognized this team, we're going to come out very slow with with all the factors and everything else. I'm not scared of anybody this year. Like, I'm not going into any game this year and saying there's no chance. We cannot beat this team. No, because when you have
City.
More than likely, but it should worry you, but I'm not scared of anybody because I look at our defense and I say to myself, they're going to keep us in football games. I really feel that strongly about our defense this year. I think we're going to have a top 5 defense in the NFL this year. That's how strong I feel about our defense. And I look at some of the quarterbacks we're going up against. I think we're going to do damage this year. I mean, you look at the quarterbacks in our division. I know what Lou just said. Hurts for 2 games, Fitzpatrick for 2 games. You got Jameis Winston. You got Sam Darnold. You got Justin Herbert in a new scheme. I could see him struggling a little bit in a new scheme. Obviously, True Lock week 1. You got Justin Fields, the rookie, late in the season. So there's quarterbacks I think we're going to be able to pick apart this year. I think this defense is going to be really good.
I'm looking forward to the defense. The defense is going to carry this team. That's why the offense just needs to be average and not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
If it can just be average. And again, you might see the same and this will piss Giants fans off. But you may see the same type of offense that they ran last year where they say, you know what? We don't want to put the ball in Daniel Jones' hand, have him throw the ball 45 times and turn the ball over. We're just going to run 3 yards in a cloud of dust like they did against Seattle. It wasn't pretty, but they found a way to win it. You may see that. You may say, hey, we're going to weigh – and I'll be honest, at the beginning of the year, that may be a lot. We're going to weigh on our defense till the offense gets going, and I'm not going to fault them for that. But
especially –
don't give teams short fields against us. That's really what it comes down to.
And I think they're going to open up more this year. I don't think they're going to be.
I do too.
But with all the weapons that they added. But I do think on a game in, game out basis, they may have that strategy, especially early in the year. You bring up the offense, how it's going to take some time to click, new weapons, Daniel Jones, right? They got to get chemistry going on another. But then you also look at our opponents. You look at the Denver Broncos, arguably the best secondary in football, and they got a good pass rush. You look at the Washington football team we just talked about, one of the best defenses in the league. So my game plan going into those games, and then I open it up, obviously, against Atlanta. Their defense is trash. The Dallas Cowboys week 5, their defense is trash. You open it up. But I look at those first 2 games, and I say to myself, ball control. Don't make mistakes. Don't lose the football game, Daniel Jones. We're going to rely on field position. It's going to be a grinded-out game, and our defense is going to try to create some turnovers, win the time of possession, win the field position, and get out of there with a win. I think you're going to have to win ugly early on in the year because of the types of teams we're playing to start the year, and because it'll take some time to get some chemistry.
Yep, I agree. But winning ugly is better than losing pretty any day.
Any day.
2015, we were put up a ton of points and we were losing. So I will take 13-10 victories all day over losing 41-34. So I'd much rather go in winning a game 13-10 with Daniel Jones going 12 out of 19 for 112 yards and a touchdown, as opposed to losing, 37-34. Daniel Jones throwing for 347 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't care about stats. I care about wins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's all I care about, too.
Yeah.
Cruz on, man. Thank you very much. I really thought Gettleman wanted to draft Tevin Jenkins at 4. I would have liked Tevin Jenkins, but the Bears moved up and stole him from us. I really wanted him. Cruz on. I was a big fan of Tevin Jenkins. A lot of people had Tevin Jenkins as a first-round prospect, and I was surprised he was there. And I think I'm with you on that. I think the Giants would have taken Tevin Jenkins had he gotten to 42. When he wasn't there, they traded down. And obviously, we're happy with who we got. Azeez Ojulari was a great pick. We got future draft capital. But I'm with you. I would have liked Tevin Jenkins, and I was surprised he was there. Bears needed to help their offensive line as well. Their offensive line may have been worse than ours, and they got a rookie quarterback. But yeah, it was a really good pick by them. But glad to see you, Cruz on, man. Hope you're having a good summer. KP says, "Why did you remove?
Benjamin? Talk to Benjamin.
Benjamin's the middleman. KP.
Benjamin is the master at arms. So talk to him."
Tudo, man, what's going on, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Ciao, my Giants. Bello Paisanos, dropped by your office to toin on the lights to pay my respect and to slap and kick the Eagles fans on my way out. What's going on, Tudo?
I love Tudo, man. He always has something to say about the Eagles. It's great.
Oh, Tudo hates the Eagles. That's why we love them.
That's great. It must be an Italian thing, maybe. I don't know.
Max, what's going on, man? I thought I liked Joe Judge until I found out he's a cussing. Knows it all a-hole who will never win a Super Bowl. Shaking my head. Glad to see you boys together again. I think he's poking fun at Kelvin Benjamin.
I think he's so too.
Yeah.
God forbid he swears. Terrible person.
What's going on? Yeah, it's a football coach. We want him to be Bible salesman's bad, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's so he wanted Kelvin Benjamin wanted to be patted on the head. It's okay, buddy. Go get another biscuit. Maybe Kelvin Benjamin was mad that the buffet wasn't what he thought it was going to be when he got to New York.
Go get another biscuit.
He can go ahead and hang out with Eddie Lacy now. They're going to just enjoy it.
That may be the best thing that's ever happened to Joe Judge. Joe Judge has got whenever he needs motivation, just look at what Kelvin Benjamin had to say. He said he's never going to win a Super Bowl. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Sounds like sour grapes to me.
I'll tell you what, that's pretty impressive after one practice to know that about the coach, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I got there. I was on that field for 15 minutes. I know everything about this guy.
Did you see
I've been in the league for 3 years, but I know everything.
I don't know if you saw this because you're not as active on Twitter as I am. Somebody on Twitter, actually, I know who it is. He's in my Discord, but somebody on Twitter who's like a troll account posted that the reason Kelvin Benjamin got cut from the Giants was because he stole food from the cafeteria. And there were Giants writers that believed it. Not just Giants writers, national writers. Brandon Marshall, they retweeted and talked about it. They bought into that and they believed it. The sick thing is it's believable because of Kelvin Benjamin's history. But I thought it was funny.
It is amazing, isn't it? It is amazing.
It is amazing.
The Twitter sphere is amazing. Yeah, I'm more active on Instagram, but the Twitter sphere is it's pretty incredible.
People run with anything.
They really do.
Yeah.
Twitter's just not as like I feel like people interact a lot more on Instagram. That's why I'm on there. Like Twitter, I'm just like I don't know. I'm on both, but I'm been more active on Twitter with the Yankee stuff lately.
Yeah. Twitter's fun, but it's definitely a little bit, combative.
It's the internet, man.
Yeah. David, man, thank you very much, man. Harden isn't going to be going to the line as much after the NBA finally changed the rules about jumping into a defender to draw. Well,
David, how many times did I complain about that they got to get rid of that damn rule about the shooter initiating the contact? I'm so glad they're getting rid of that.
Who takes advantage of that?
Every game that should not be a foul.
Who takes advantage of that more than anybody? Trae Young.
Harden does.
Trae Young.
Yeah,
but Harden's bad too. Harden started. Durant used to be bad with it too. He maybe not so much anymore, but Trae Young.
Durant don't even need to do it. But
yeah, he's ridiculous.
Harden and Trae Young definitely.
T-Boy, man, what's going on? Dynamic Duo is back. What's going on, T-Boy, man? Glad to see you, buddy.
We back, baby.
And Anthony says, just got off work. Now watching y'all. Love the stream. Go G-Men 10 and 7. 17 game schedule here, Anthony. Or maybe 11 and 6. Maybe they one way or the other. But I hope so, man. But glad to see you, Anthony, man. Hope you're having a good summer, my man. But let's see what we got here. Julian says, how about them Yankee? I guess, Rizzo, I know he hit a home run today.
Rizzo, baby. Second day in a row. He's got like 5 hits. He scored like 5 runs. I loved that trade. Wasn't too high on the Joey Gallo trade, as most of you know if you watch my videos. I wasn't high on the Gallo, but I loved the Rizzo deal. I loved that. I thought that was fantastic. So
I agree with you. I think Rizzo, and I'm not a Yankee fan, but I think Rizzo's exactly what you needed. He's a good defensive first baseman. He's more of a contact guy that provides some power.
You need the contact.
Where Gallo is the exact opposite. I thought Gallo was a horrible fit for you guys.
Well, Gallo just can't.
And I know he's good defensively, but the guy's just...
he's athletic. He's good defensively. And obviously, the guy can hit the ball a mile. In the Yankee Stadium, he's not going to have to... He can hit the ball at half-ass, and it's going to go into those stands. But he swings and misses too much, and I said that's what concerned me. We have enough of those guys. But
Rizzo was a good pickup.
I love Rizzo. I love the Rizzo pick.
Tudo, man, what's going on? We all Sicilian Italians are born and raised diehard New York sports teams fans naturally and anti-Eagles for life. And we can't help it, Paisano. Forget about it, my man.
You got to help it, Tuto. Hey, Fuck the Eagles. Fuck the Eagles. Let's go.
Red Wings, what's going on? Sup, guys? Some love from a Washington fan. Keep up the content. Get hyped for this season. It's going to be I can't wait, man. And Bad Dog, it's been a long time. I'm going to say one thing. Red Wings, man, thank you very much. One thing I've noticed this offseason on Twitter specifically from Washington fans, they're chirping a little bit. And they won the division, even though
they did this when they were 9 and 7. It was this. You were. I don't think you were on YouTube yet. They did the same thing. 9 and 7. They won it by default. I think it was 2015. They won it by default. It was 2015. They won by default, and they thought they were going to be great, and then they suck. And then 7 and 9, and now Daniel Jones sucks. I'm like, yeah, he's terrible, and you can't beat him. So what the hell's that say?
But no, I'm actually excited though because the Giants and Washington really haven't had a rivalry since I was a little kid. Like in terms of them both being good at the same time consistently.
I love it. And
I think it's trending that way. And we've been talking about that for the last 2 years that we think both of these teams are starting to shift towards being the tops of this division. And I think that. You're going to start to see that transition this year.
Because I don't dislike Washington the way I hate those other two teams. Actually, guy that didn't end up going to my mother-in-law's house, so we ended up going out to dinner, my wife, I, and little Bad Dog. And the guy that brought the food, he's a Giants fan. He's like, I don't know if I can give this to you. And I just kind of looked at him. I was like, huh? And he's like, I'm a Washington fan. I go, you're all right, man. I go, as long as you're not Eagles or Cowboys. He goes, I hate the Eagles and Cowboys. He's like, okay. I'm like, yeah. I think Washington, I do. I think there's a lot of respect between the Washington and Giants fans. And I think both of us just cannot stand the other two teams in the division. I really do.
I definitely, I can't speak from a Washington perspective, but I definitely, from a Giants perspective, I definitely think we have a lot more beef with those other two teams. But It might have to do with they've been more successful in my lifetime. But I don't know. I've never hated them on the level of the other two.
No.
Benjamin, thank you very much, man. KP, why is the rent so important to you? Grow the hell up. You lost it because one Chiefs can't drive legally. I can't stand the name Luke. Oh, the name Luke. Is that what did it? All right. Yeah. And Rob from downtown, thank you very much. Let's go, G-Man. Me and my uncle are going to the Jets-Giants game. Can't wait. He is a Jets fan. Is our defense going to be top 5 in the league this year? Also, our Bad Dog's enemy, EDP, got – oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a try. Well, I don't know what happened with that, but yeah, that's over and done with. But as far as the Giants go, yeah, I kind of talked about that earlier. I think Bad Dog's pretty much in agreement with me. I mean, we were top 10 defense last year. So with the addition of Adoree Jackson, with the addition of Azeez Ojulari, getting some players back from injury, McKinney for a full year. Obviously Lorenzo Carter, we hope he's fully, healthy. There's no reason to think that, in my opinion, at least, that this defense can't be top 5. Now, what I'll say is, Bad Dog, we've been bit in the past. 2016, we said, there's no way. This defense was the best defense in football the last 8 games. And then it just went to hell. So Is it possible James Bradbury could regress? Sure. Is it possible Martinez could regress? Sure. So, I wouldn't be shocked, if the New York Giants defense disappoints this year. But I'm going in with top 5 expectations, due in large part to the players we've acquired. I think we play an even softer schedule this year. in terms of the quarterbacks we're going up against, and just more familiarity in the defense. Year two, and Patrick Graham to me is a mastermind. So I'm a big fan of our defense this year.
And I also hope that the offense contributes a lot more and has better time possession. That'll also help the defense. So
great point.
Yeah, I think the two toughest offense, obviously Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Other than that, I don't think there's any offense that we play the worst. I mean, maybe Dallas. Dallas is a formidable offense.
Yeah.
But I also don't worry about so much Dallas because I think we can score with Dallas. I think Dallas is going to be involved in a lot of those shootouts all year. I love their linebacker core, but not sold in that secondary one bit still. So I think that they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. I'm not saying they can't win games 37-34, but
that's how they're going to have to win it.
I think we can score with them, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to say we're going to sweep Dallas because I don't think that's going to happen. But Dallas, Kansas City, and Tampa are tough offenses, and that'll test how good our defense really is. The rest of the teams we play, I think that we can handle them.
Falcons have a pretty good offense, but their defense is atrocious. Falcons.
We'll kick their.
But they lost Julio Jones. I'm not worried. I think that's our most winnable game, to be honest with you.
Matt Ryan's in deep shit now.
Yeah, their defense sucks. But
7 sacks.
Yeah, let's do it. Adam, thank you very much for his gold Red Sox. You guys are having a damn good year this year. I'll tell you that. Surprise team in baseball. Well, I'd say San Francisco Giants are 1 for me. Red Sox are 2. But they're a big surprise.
San Francisco Giants, Chicago White Sox.
Well, I like the White Sox going in, though, but not this much. But I did like them going in. Boston, I didn't see this coming, though.
Me neither. I thought Boston's pitching would fall off a little bit, but it didn't. So, yeah, they're good. They're good. Yeah. They've whooped our ass this year. I can tell you that much right
now. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they've been your Achilles heel this year. Jose, man, thank you very much. He says, I must prepare for tomorrow's game. Good night. All right, Jose, man. Glad to see you, buddy.
Have a great night, Altuve.
Tuto, he says, where in the world you would possibly think of if you were suffering from an extreme diarrhea sickness? Lincoln Financial Field. Tuto. That's where you go to
capital of the world.
I don't know if I'd be thinking of it, but that's where I'd go to flush it.
I mean, listen, it's a diarrhea capital of the world. The Lincoln Financial Field's a bunch of diarrhea. The hell with the Eagles. I hate them.
Pandemonium, man, what's going on? Thoughts on Joe Loney? Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I think it's a depth signing. I think I like it. I think we needed more depth on the offensive line. He's obviously got ties to Garrett. We wanted to sign him last year. But I don't want him starting. I don't think he's a starting caliber offensive lineman, and I would sooner rather see guys like Shane Lemieux progress than start him. He had a 50 PFF grade last year. He's versatile. He can play both the center and the guard spot. I think he's a sub for Harrison, who right now is out with an injury, and maybe I think good chance to make the team, but I don't think he'll start.
Yeah, agreed.
But thank you, Pandemonium, man. I appreciate it, buddy. They obviously have interest in him. They wanted to sign him last year. Let's see what we got. JD, man, what's going on? And by the way, if you guys have not checked out JD, he's freaking awesome. I still haven't checked out his new Nick video. I told him I would, but go over there and check him out. And we're definitely going to be doing a Nick show soon, JD. Just got to figure out our schedules. He says, love every time Bad Dog rips Philly fans created a new one. Why do you think they're a playoff team? Am I missing something? We already read that actually earlier, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
And, that's what I'm saying. Philly 500's getting his. He always has to troll me. He always talking. Listen, and when I do it, you're gonna love it. Trust me, when I do, we're going back to my TTC days for this one. You won't be disappointed.
Oh, I can't wait.
You won't be disappointed.
I can't wait.
It's coming. I don't know if I want to do it at the beginning of the year. I don't know if I want to wait till the Eagles Giants week.
I'd save it. For Eagles Giants.
I might have to save it for Eagles Giants.
Save for Eagles Giants.
But the thing is, a lot of my material, it's based on this preseason stuff. So it might be difficult if I wait till November 28th.
Because things can develop.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it might be difficult because by then the year will be going on and it's
do one before, do one the week of.
Yeah, I'll probably do one right at the beginning of the year. Or maybe in a couple weeks, right in the middle of training camp. Right in the middle of preseason. We'll figure it out. I think it's coming soon. I don't think I can wait till November. But it's coming. I already want Philly.
I just want to say thank you so much, Peter Mariello, man. Thank you so much, man. Blown away, man. Thank you to everybody for being here, by the way. Thank you for all the thumbs up, Peter, man. Thank you for the great Italian name.
Paisano.
Thank you for the incredible generosity. He says, welcome back, you guys. Best YouTube duo out there. Can't wait for the season to start, man. Listen, man, I cannot wait to start watching games with this lunatic. We got 17 games. Well, we're going to go to one together, but we got 16 games on YouTube to watch together. It's going to be another really fun season, and can't wait to experience with all you guys. And hopefully we have a lot more happy times this year than we're accustomed to.
I think we're going to. I used to say it at the end of every stream when we did this. Thank you so much for all the support. Yada, yada, you guys are the best. Just think about how fun it's going to be when we're good.
I got the hoodie on Baddog from the start of the year now.
I think that this is going to be a good year.
Yeah. We'll go 17 and we don't lose when I wear it. We'll go 17-0.
What are we, Eagles now? We're going to lose. We're going to lose.
Christian, man, thank you very much. They won. Mets win it again. Nice, Christian. They were down. I taped it, so I'm going to get to watch it.
Yeah, well, I'll let you watch it.
Yeah, I taped.
I had the little game thing up here. I was watching the Mets. That's
a big win for them. So that's awesome, Christian, man. Thank you for letting me know.
And Luis Sessa, former Yankee, there you go, buddy. Help the Mets out.
Awesome. B-Ball God, man. Thank you very much. I agree. I'm a Washington football team fan and live in, I'm assuming, Delaware now, right outside of Philly. And I don't hate the Giants like I do the. Yeah, it seems that way.
It's just the way it goes.
I do sense, though, some Washington fans are starting to really show a lot of hate our way. But it might be because we beat them so much in recent years.
I don't ever see that. I've
seen it on Twitter, but I haven't seen it really before this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, man, I for years, I started watching the Giants in '84. The Giants in Washington were very good in the '80s. Between 1986 and 1992, they won 4 Super Bowls between them. And there was always a big time mutual respect between, like when I was in high school, there was a big time mutual respect between the Washington fans and the Giants fans. I don't know. And I think it's because maybe Twitter's different. We didn't have the internet back in 1991, people, believe it or not. That was not around. There was no cell phones. The Zach Morris cell phone, but nobody actually had those. But it just wasn't.
What was that? The brick phone?
The brick, right.
Yeah.
Washington fans aren't arrogant. And Giants fans really aren't arrogant. They, like I said, they seem like the kind of blue collar type of guys, just really love their team. They're hardworking teams. And you have the Cowboy fans that just jumped on board like, yeah, we're the Cowboys, represent the star. And then the Eagle fans forget they're a lost cause. Now with that. They got no hope. They freaking suck. They don't know anything. I don't know. At this point, I don't know if they're trolling. I don't know if they're delusional, brain dead.
Maybe they're drunk. Maybe they're drunk. Maybe they're always just drunk.
Hell with the Eagle fans. Well, there's a couple on YouTube that call it like it is. And they take the same beating I do from some people. I just can't criticize the Giants. They do. But, that reminds me. I'll have to talk about this. But one time this year, I don't know if you guys know, Joey Shakes and Philly 500 do a show like this. And I know Philly 500, and I talk to Joey Shakes, like on Twitter a lot. And I know they want to have us
tag team
sometime. And I said we got to do that. I think we have to join their show and vice versa sometime.
Listen, I'll do it. I'll do it monthly if they want. We'll switch channels, whatever.
I think that has to happen.
Little Eagles Giants tag team action. I
think that'll be fun.
John,
I think the fans would enjoy that too.
Absolutely. John, man, I got to get you on the channel, and I'm gonna mess you on Twitter. I know I want to bring you on the channel. John Burton, man, thank you so much. Says, hey fellas, great stream. Go New York Giants. What's going on,
baby?
Man? I'll probably have some voice callers maybe in 2 weeks, and I'd love to get you on the channel, John. I've been meaning to do that for a while. But hopefully you're enjoying the stream, and thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see what we got. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody here. And JD Sports Talk, he says, driving, I thought you didn't read it. Oh, my bad, dude. He says, so resent the super chat. Anyway, most pressure, that's a good one. Judge, Gettleman, or Garrett. I'll throw Daniel Jones in the question as well. And I'll start with it. Most pressure this year, and they all have a ton of pressure because, Baddog, when you have the offseason that the New York Giants had this year, we spent more money than probably any other team. Maybe that New England was the only team that may have spent more. We spent a ton of money, right? And you don't even think about the other contracts, right? Because we spent a lot of money to bring back Logan Ryan. We spent a lot of money to bring back Leonard Williams. And then you go and sign Adoree Jackson, and you go sign Kyle Rudolph, Kenny Golladay. We spent a ton of money this year. And when you do that, that ups the pressure for everybody because you spend that kind of money. John Mara expects production. Right. So I think everybody's got pressure this year. But I'm going to go. Here's what I'll say, man. I think Judge has the least pressure. He still got pressure because here's what I'll say. If the Giants have a bad year this year, Judge won't get fired, but Judge is immediately on the hot seat going into next year. Because if the Giants have a bad year this year and they win 5 or 6 games, Gettleman's gone. And if Gettleman's gone, that means Daniel Jones more than likely gone, Jason Garrett more than likely gone, and then you're going to bring in a new guy that wants his new philosophy. He's got no ties to Judge. So everybody, and they can hire from within, but regardless, even if they hire from within, and even if he likes Judge, Bad Dog, there's not many coaches when you really think about it. And I love Joe Judge. I hope he's here for the next 20 years. But there's not many coaches when you really think about it that started off with 3 losing seasons and got to keep their job for a 4th. It's few and far between, unless they have a prior track record, maybe, but it doesn't exist for the most part. So Judge would immediately be put on the hot seat if they have a disappointing year this year. They win 5 or 6 games, so he's definitely got pressure. But I think Gettleman for sure has the most pressure. Garrett as well. I think Garrett will be fired though, and Jones has a ton of pressure too. But I would say with Gettleman, because what Gettleman has said, and listen, we try to defend Gettleman when we think it's appropriate. I personally think, Gettleman haters may think that we're Gettleman lovers. I don't think that's the case. I think we defend Gettleman I think we try to be as fair as we can. But at the end of the day, Bad Dog, as much as I love some of the things Gettleman's done, I like what he's done with some of the cap. I like what he's done with the future draft capital, right? Getting a first round pick. I like what he's done with this defense. When you look what he did with this defense over the last 2 years, it's night and day. We went from one of the worst to one of the best in a 2-year span, and he has a lot to do with that. His fingerprints are all over that. Leonard Williams acquired him. Dexter Lawrence drafted him. Logan Ryan, so, right? The whole defense.
Got Xavier McKinney. They picked him up.
James Bradbury, Martinez. Yeah, so that has his fingerprints all over it. So you give him credit for that. But at the end of the day, his mission statement, when he took this job, Bad Dog, all he talked about was the hog mollies. And as Giants fans, we've been deprived of that for the last 10 years. And we talk about it every freaking year, that's what the season is going to come down to. And if I'm being honest, Bad Dog, and we'll see how they do this year, it's been a complete failure. I mean, he signed Nate Solder, complete bust. Will Hernandez, up to this point, has been mediocre. So if the offensive line is not at least trending up this year and headed towards average, and the Giants win 6 or 7 games, Gettleman's gone. And at the end of the day, his legacy rests on the right shoulder of Daniel Jones. Because in 10 years, that's what everybody's going to think about. They're not going to say, oh, well, he built a good defense. No, they're going to say, oh, well, he drafted that busted quarterback, Daniel Jones, if he doesn't work out. So I think Gettleman's legacy is on the line this year. I think Jones has to have a big step forward. And I think in order to do that, that offensive line needs to take a jump.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the most pressure is on Gettleman. Now, he has done amazing things with this defense, but it took him a while to get here. You got to remember, he went out and got Al Ogletree. He let JPP, he traded JPP away. He drafted DeAndre Baker. He drafted Sam Beal. Like, he has definitely missed on some of this defense, but it has turned around, and obviously it is trending in the right direction. I think Patrick Graham has a ton to do with that. You also got to remember that, Gettleman hired Shermer. That was a disaster. And then again, it's Daniel Jones. It's the offensive line. Has he done enough to fix this? At the end of the day, Dave Gettleman's the one that put this thing together. And the players have to go out and perform. But when you look at all these guys that he's brought in here and you sit there and you go, look at all the first round picks he's had. Is there any superstar there? You could say Barkley has superstar talent, but has he really lived up to it so far? His rookie season, he did. But in my opinion, that had a lot to do with Eli Manning being able to read defenses and get Saquon Barkley in the best possible scenario to run for the most yards. Jones ain't quite there yet, being able to read this and change a blocking scheme to set. There's a lot that goes into this. But at the end of the day, again, Jason Garrett's getting, they all have pressure. But Gettleman's the one that hired Garrett. Gettleman's the one that hired Judge. Gettleman's the one that drafted Jones. Gettleman's the one that drafted Barkley. Put this offensive line together, did not address the offensive line in this offseason at all. I'm not going to talk about Looney. It's like a depth guy. He traded back, which I love. I love the pick, but then he went Kadarius Toney, which kind of threw me for a loop. He could have had Rashawn Slater. He could have went Vera Tucker. There was things
before the trade he could have, yeah.
Right. Yes. There was things that they could have done to address the offensive line, and they didn't. So, again, if they have a bad year and they are 6-11, he's gone. I think that Garrett also could be gone. But then again, how many times you fire an offensive coordinator, bring in a new offensive coordinator under a head coach that's been there, and then a new GM coming in? You'll see if the Giants suck, you're going to see. Unfortunately, we're going to start over again. That sucks. But
as much as I don't think it'll happen. I think Judge is safe. But I'll put it this way. If they bring in an outsider, nobody's safe. You don't know for sure if you bring in a new GM, right? So he may want his coach. So that's why I always say, man, I love Judge. I want Judge to be the next 10, 15 years. But the best track for him early on in his career, you don't want turnover. You don't want a lot of change at the top. You want Gettleman to stay on. You want this team to take the next step forward, and you want Judge to kind of start to gain a little bit of traction and, to gain some more momentum as a head coach in the NFL. This is a huge year for everyone that he put on that list. It's a huge year for Judge. It's a huge year for Garrett, and it's a huge year for Gettleman.
This is what I want. This is the problem that I want going into next year. I want the problem being we might lose Jason Garrett as a head coach. He's going to be a head coach. That's the problem that I want.
That'd be a great problem.
That's what I'm hoping happens. That's why I'm hoping Jason Garrett's not part of this team next year, because he was so good that he got a head coaching job. That's the best case scenario. Patrick Graham signed a 2-year deal with us?
Patrick, 2-year deal.
So he's not going anywhere for a couple of years, which is good. But that's
you never know. You never know, though. I mean, if
right. Hopefully that's our biggest concern, is that our coordinators may get head coaching jobs.
Right.
That's what I want our concern to be. And I want people to, at the end of this year, going, damn, Dave Gettleman, man, we got to give him credit. Got to give him credit. He turned his team around. I want that. I want the haters to have to give the guy a little bit of credit. And I love when people just blindly hate Gettleman and they're like, you guys just stick up for Gettleman every time. Because you say, hey, he's done some good things, he's done some bad things. But, he
this year we find out. This year we find out if Gettleman was an evil genius or if it goes up in flames. And it all comes down to Daniel Jones and the offensive line. No matter how many good things he's done, you can't win without a quarterback, and you can't win without an offensive line. So that's what it comes down to, and we'll see.
Even though he found a way to do it a couple games last year.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy, no offensive line. He's come out and find a way to win.
Yeah, but consistently. It's tough. And Raphael, man, thank you very much. Love the Alfred Morris signing. Very physical back. Morris did good things for the Giants last year. Again, now he may make the team, because we were talking about earlier about Barkley. We don't know if he's going to be ready to start the year, and I think that's the main reason probably why they brought him in. Not to mention that there's no guarantee Brightwell's going to make the team. He's a 6th-round pick, right? So Morris stands a chance to make the team. But I think once Barkley is in full swing, more than likely Morris won't be a part of this team. But he did a good job for the Giants last year in limited action. So I see no reason against bringing him in. Obviously, he's got ties to Garrett as well, and did a good job with the Giants last year. So, yeah.
Let me hit the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I'll talk to the chat. NYB, thank you very much. Giants are going through in the NFC East, period. I love it. I'm picking them. I'm not going to go crazy with my prediction, but, yeah, I think they're going to narrowly win it. I've consistently said I think Dallas, Giants, Washington. I think those 3 teams are going to be between 8 and 10 wins. And I'm going to go on the optimistic side. I'm going to say the Giants win maybe with a tiebreaker. I think it's going to be really close. Eli Manning. I didn't know Eli Manning was subscribed to my channel. I am super excited, by the way, Eli, before I read the super chat, to listen to you and your brother call games this year. I think it's the smartest thing that ESPN ever did. I think you and Peyton are going to do a great job. But Eli, man, thank you for being my favorite athlete of all time. And I'm hoping I get to maybe meet you at FanFest. He says, as the greatest quarterback in New York Giants history, I beat Brady twice in the Super Bowls. Chris, Kevin, big fan of your show. I despise Peyton's Omaha cadences, and I especially despise Luke. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate. Wow, man, they don't like Luke. But no, Eli, man, thank you so much for popping in the stream, man, and thank you for all the everything that you did for me as a fan.
I got to meet Eli Manning a number of times. So Eli Manning was just fine. Eli was just fine, man.
Seems like
Eli.
Class act. He's a class act. Easy.
Class act. Yeah, I miss the Giants up here in Albany, man. It's hard to believe that's been 9 years since they've been up here, man.
Yeah, we talk about that every training camp, and I never got to go to Albany. I've only been to
definitely wasn't anything special. SUNY Albany campus.
But everything that whenever I've talked to Giants fans about Albany, they always say they missed it, and they felt like it was more of a more of a hands-on experience. Like I don't know. They
You're right there. I mean, they walk right by you. You're right on top of them. I mean, literally, the stands were so close that they could run into you, and there was great interaction. I mean, I don't know how it is down there, but they interact a lot. I mean, there's like Strahan was a dick bag. I don't know what else to say, and that's putting it nicely. OC wasn't the best guy. I mean, but there was very few of those players that really just didn't want any fan interaction. So many of them were really good, really engaging. Jason Sehorn was great. Kerry Collins was great. Jeremy Shockey, Tiki Barber, Amani Toomer, Charles Way. I mean, the list goes on of really, really good Giants. And even Coach Colvin. Coach Colvin was the best. Coach Colvin was such a nice guy to all the fans. But when he got on that practice field, it is totally different. It's totally, oh my God, he would kill these guys.
Yeah, but that's what we loved about
I
him.
know, but it was just, I miss him, man. I do. The reason that they left here, obviously they built that complex down there, but the reason they left here is because of the rain. And especially when they went to where they couldn't do 2-a-days, because they used to do 2-a-days when I was down there. Even as recently as like 2007, 2008, they had the 2-a-days. 2009. When they only had one practice and it would get rained out, they lost their practice. So they wanted coverage. And Suni talked about building them like a dome to play, but it never happened. So Carter would bring them up here just to get them out of the city.
I mean, I'm glad that they have it where they have it now because it's easier for me to go.
Well, I'm not.
But I know you're
like
not.
They used to. Bring them up here for a couple weeks. Get them out of the city, Judge. Just come up here.
Everybody tells me Albany was better. I've only been to training camp twice ever, 2 different seasons. But I'm looking forward to going to the Fan Fest this year. That should be a lot of fun. But I don't know how it's going to be in terms of a hands-on approach. We'll see. But I was kind of disappointed this year that they didn't really have, anything open to the public. I know they did something today. I think it was in New Jersey where 3,000 fans were there, but they, generally they have like 8, 9, 10 practices where the public could go. They didn't do that this year. I was a little disappointed with that.
By the way, when I was in there, I think I heard you say Eli was your favorite athlete of all time. I don't know if I'd use athlete to describe.
Well, yeah. Well, technically he's an athlete. I mean, we've all seen the beach body. We've all seen the beach body pictures.
Eli had a dad bod in college.
But okay, but I don't care if the guy.
No, I don't care. I'm just saying. I wouldn't use athlete. I'd use
competitor.
Yeah, the quarterback, player.
But at the end of the day, my 2 happiest moments as a sports fan are because of Eli Manning, and I love him till the day I die. So class act all the way.
Eli's great.
Obi, man, what's going on? And we can talk about this briefly. And glad to see Obi. He says Devonta Smith is out with a leg injury. Maybe he needs to hang out with Kelvin Benjamin. I'm going to tell you what, Baddog. I saw the picture today, and we've poked fun at Devonta Smith and his weight and everything else, how he looks like he's a toothpick. But I saw the picture today of Devonta Smith in his shoulder pads. You know when you see a normal football player, his arms will fill up the whole pad, right? He had like this much space between the shoulder pad and his arm. The guy's got twigs for arms. I'm looking at the guy. I'm like, this guy's not going to – this guy's an injury waiting to happen. I just feel like he's too small.
Somebody sent me a picture on Instagram and a DM, and they said – it just put it – and all that said was 150 tops. He weighs 150. I think little Bad Dog's got bigger arms than Devonta Smith. I really do.
Yeah. I agree with you.
He runs fast. He can be running fast. You ever had somebody chasing you and you like pick up speed? That's me, Devonta Smith. That was me when I played in high school. I was a track guy, but I ran my ass off because if I got hit at 135 pounds, I was getting murdered. So I'm just waiting for that one slant. Bam! Oh, you okay? 1, 2. He's out. He's out.
No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says Eli was hey man. Listen, at the end of the day, the guy made plays. He was an athlete. He got the job done. Let's see what we got here. V Christian says, "Are you worried with the whole Golladay and Jones situation?" All right, yeah, I don't know.
Did a whole video on that thing.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about it. No, not at all. And when it comes to training camp, especially early in the process, before they even have pads on, I don't get too high. I don't get too low. I've learned that, right? Like last year, I did a video on everybody got super excited about Daniel Jones. Oh, Daniel Jones looks jacked. He's in great shape. He's going to have a great year. Didn't translate to anything. This year, you didn't see me make a video on it, right? He was jacked again. He looked like he was in great shape. I don't get too high with stories at training camp, and I don't get too low. To me, training camp, the most important thing, like I said at the top of the stream, get out of camp healthy. But when I look at Kenny Golladay, I say to myself, Baddog, you got a receiver coming in. He's never played in Jason Garrett's scheme. He's never played with Daniel Jones. And it's the 3rd day of training camp. And they're probably trying to work on things. They're not familiar with each other. I expect them to struggle. So it's not a surprise to me. So, no, I'm not concerned with Kenny Golladay at all. The guy's a proven commodity at the wide receiver position. The only thing that I guess you worry about a little bit is he had some injury woes last year, right? He missed 11 games. So I think that's something that maybe you could be a little bit concerned with. But in terms of him as a player, you're talking about a guy, Baddog, who a year ago, not last year, but the year before that, led the NFL in touchdowns. And he did that without Matt Stafford for half a season. So This guy could play. I think he fits the scheme beautifully. We kind of talked about that last year when we heard the rumors about Gettleman wanting to bring him in. We said, wow, there's not many receivers that fit this scheme better. The Eric Oriel scheme, you want to throw a lot of, 50-50 balls to the outside. And I think we looked at Golladay. We said he's 6'4". He could go up and get it. He averages 18 yards a catch. He's going to help in the red zone. We were the second worst team in the red zone in the NFL last year.
Yep.
And I think he's going to do great things for this offense. So, no, I'm not concerned at all. Nothing that happens at training camp, especially early on, concerns me at all. I think it's just, people trying to generate stories and try to get to your emotions. So, no, I wouldn't worry about it, at least not yet.
Like I said, I don't know if I'm concerned. Well, I don't want to say worried, but I don't care. I do have. I'm not.
You want to hear positive things?
There should be a bit of concern. This offense was terrible, and just because you add Kenny Golladay, and just because this is the second year under the system, does not mean that it will translate to the. You don't know this. You don't know how they're going to acclimate themselves. Daniel Jones struggled in this system last year. He's still strong. To me, I know that he's going against their defense. I get that. But at the same time, I'm like, well, he should not be struggling. He should know this like the back of his hand. He should not be missing Evan Ingram wide open in the end zone and throwing an interception.
Oh, I'd worry more about – I'm not really worried about anybody just yet, but I'd worry more about Joe. But Golladay –
That's what I'm saying. Golladay, that is what it is. But yeah. I'm just saying in general, again, I mentioned it right at the top of the show. I don't get too concerned about it in practice. But at the same time, like I use the poker analogy again. If I'm playing poker for fake chips and I really don't care what happens to the chips, you can still pick up really bad habits doing that when it actually matters. That's my thing. If I'm playing for fake chips, I want to play the same way I'd play if I was at a $100, $200 no limit table. I don't want to sit there and play. Well, I don't give a damn. These chips mean nothing. I still want to be able to play.
You want to practice how you play.
So I want to hear that they're getting better. I don't want to, and I love that they're playing against their defense. That's great. That's why training camp's so difficult. What is good and what is bad? Daniel Jones is struggling. That's because the defense is really good. Daniel Jones is doing great. Well, now I'm worried about the defense.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard. But yeah, it's been 3 days. I still would like to hear that he is playing better. And again, the Golladay thing is a Golladay thing, but you just hope that they improve on this stuff as it goes forward. I worry about it week one, but I want to hear good things.
Of course, you want to hear good things, but even if I hear good things, I'm not going to get excited about it. I think back to
I'm the same way. I'm not going to get all.
I think back
he did great.
Yeah, I think back to 2019, and I remember reading articles about Eli Manning had the best training camp of his career. Obviously didn't get off to the best of starts the first two games. So preseason, I think we were like 4-0 in 2019.
Yep.
So. You only read so much into it. Let's get out of camp healthy. JD, man, thank you very much. Team that takes the next step and the one that disappoints. Okay. I'll leave the Giants out of it because obviously most, we're Giants fans in here. So I'll try to be unbiased. So I won't mention the Giants. So a team that could surprise this year, I think most people would tell you the Chargers. I think that's going to be a popular one because Justin Herbert, maybe you worry about a little bit with the new coach, but Justin Herbert, obviously a quarterback with a lot of potential. I don't know if you consider the 49ers because they had a ton of injuries last year, but I could definitely see the 49ers really improving off of last year. But I think most people expect that. So I guess my answer would be the Chargers. I think Herbert could have a good year. Maybe they win 10 games in the AFC West. I could definitely see that. And in terms of a team that disappoints, one team I've said a lot, I'm not the biggest fan of the Miami Dolphins this year. I'm not a huge fan of Tua Tagovailoa. I know that they've had a couple of good years, but I look at their quarterback situation, Baddog. I'm not in love with it. And I think they're going to play a tougher schedule this year because I think the AFC East is improved with how much New England spent in free agency. And I don't think the Jets will be a pushover this year. And obviously the Bills are very good. So I think I could see the Dolphins winning like 7 games. That's, I guess, like my surprise disappointing team. And I'll throw in the Arizona Cardinals because I think the NFC West is stacked with the San Francisco 49ers coming back. I think a lot of people may view the Cardinals as a 9 or 10 win team with Kyler Murray. I could easily see them winning 6 or 7 games in the NFC West. So I'll throw out the Cardinals and the Dolphins as two potential surprising bad teams.
I think that the Chargers is a good one. I definitely think the Chargers could take a step up. To mention all the time, first show we ever did, we talked about how I wanted to draft Justin Herbert. I wanted the Giants to get Justin Herbert, but definitely there. But I'm going to go with the Vegas Raiders, man. I think everybody overlooks the Raiders. I don't think anybody looks at the Raiders and go, oh, they're going to be really good.
You said them last year.
I just do. I think that the Raiders have a good chance to take some teams by surprise. I just feel like that team, they make a lot of just under the radar signings and draft picks and everything else. And, I learned a lot about the Raiders from my brother-in-law. I mean, he's a Raiders fan and he pretty much knows everything about the Raiders. And I think that I'm not saying the Raiders are going to go to the Super Bowl or anything, but I think that they could surprise and win more games than people think. Disappoints? I'm going Green Bay. I think that the Aaron Rodgers is obviously disgruntled.
Yeah.
They've had terrible drafts the last couple of years. That is going to catch up with them eventually. It's going to catch up. Aaron Rodgers is getting older. It's going to catch up with Rodgers. It's going to catch up with that team. Everybody always thinks Green Bay is going to win 12, 13 games, go to the Super Bowl. I think that that's a team that you could see take a major step back and maybe only win 8 or 9 games this year. Now, granted, their division's not very good, so that helps them. But I still don't think that Green Bay is going to be as good as a lot of people think they're going to be this year.
It's not a bad pick. I think they'll do well this year, but I wouldn't be shocked if they win 9 or 10 games with a disgruntled Rodgers. I'm going to give you another team, and I say them every year, and I'm not even necessarily picking it because he proves me wrong every year, but I just don't like their team overall. I love Russell Wilson. Could you see Seattle falling off this year? Because I think it's going to happen every year, and it never happens. But
I don't know, man.
That NFC West is competitive. I don't like their overall team. You got to respect Russell Wilson, though. Could you see them disappointing winning 7 games this year, maybe?
It's got, again, like Green Bay, it would have to happen eventually, you would think. And that division's really tough. So it could be. Yeah.
We'll see. A pimp named Slickback, man, thank you very much. Worst O-line last year and lost our best offensive line guy in the offseason. If the O-line is bad again, it doesn't take that. I agree. A pimp named Slickback. I think that's what it comes down to this year is, do these guys that they drafted 2 years ago take a huge step up this year with the addition of Rob Sale, with playing together? Because that's the gamble. That's what they did. That's what Judge and Gettleman did. They said, we believe in the guys we drafted 2 years ago. We think second year together, they're going to take a huge step up. If they don't take a huge step up, I'm with you. Because that's just going to mean that the Giants do bad this year. If the offensive line – now, what I will say is I do think last year's statistics are a little bit misleading, if we're being honest with the offensive line, because if you go back and think about it and you look at it, the first 8 games last year, not only were the Giants the worst offensive line, they weren't even close. Mm-hmm. I remember looking at metrics on Football Outsiders. They were like the disparity between 31 and 32 was huge over the first 8 games. So the second 8 games, I don't think we were the second worst offensive line in football last year. I think we were maybe more like 23, 24, and we were starting to show some progression. But yeah, we were definitely a bad offensive line last year. And yeah, we lost Zeitler, and that's obviously a major concern for this team. They gambled. Gettleman said, I believe in the guys we drafted. I think they're going to take a big step up. And if they don't, Gettleman's gone. That's just the truth. That's the facts.
Yeah. But listen, I agree. It shouldn't take us long. Kansas City redid it in 1 year.
It helps when you have Mahomes and Andy Reid, but yes.
But they just did it this year.
Yeah.
They just did it. I wish we got Creed Humphrey, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And DeGrom, man, thank you very much. Lilies, 69ers, and endangered species are poverty.
There. By the way, DeGrom, I went through my community again. You should be good to go on my channel. Don't know what's going on. Still discussing with YouTube, but you should be good to go. DeGrom.
Continuing source of inspiration. Thank you very much. Raiders would be good if they knew how to draft. I was gonna say something about the Raiders, and I actually don't hate the Raiders pick. The only thing I worry about with the Raiders, they lost like 3/5 of their offensive line, so that's what I worry about there with them. But they're not a horrible pick. And the AFC West I think is gonna be tough because I do like the Chargers, but it wouldn't shock me. I do think Derek Carr is one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the league. I don't think he's great.
They don't want to beat Kansas City. They beat them every year. They're like the only team that beats them every year.
Yeah. They're not a horrible pick. The thing with the Raiders, it seemed over the last 2 years, is they get off to a really good start, and then they just fall apart. Like the first 6-7 games, they're like, at least that's the way it feels. They're off to a pretty good start, and then they just fall apart. But we'll see. It was an interesting pick. Dominic, man, thank you very much. Glad you guys are back. What is a realistic stat line for Daniel Jones? I want to get your stat line because I don't think I've asked you this yet. Daniel Jones has to have, for you guys to think he has a good year, touchdown yards and turnovers. All right. Before you give me the has to, I want you to give me what you think he's going to do.
I think that Daniel Jones will be about, honestly, I can see 3,500 yards, about 28 touchdowns, and maybe,
how many yards did you say?
3,500. It's just over 200 a game. I can see him getting just over 200 a game, 3,500, 3,600 yards a game, or 36. I wish a game, 3,600 yards a year. Between like 24 and 30 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to ask him to throw a lot. I really don't. In the red zone, hopefully he does kill it in the red zone with the weapons he has. He should. And interceptions, I think he'll have less than one a game. I can see 14 or 15, but I think 3,500 yards, about 28 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. I could see that being realistic for him. What I've said about him for the Giants have a good year, what I think he needs is 2008 Eli Manning. Maybe a little bit better than that. Eli Manning, I don't remember what he threw for yardage, but he had 21 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and the 2008 Giants are the best team that I've ever seen. And that includes the 86 team before Burris got shot, because the Giants were great on both sides of the ball. In 86, they weren't very good on offense. So they had a lot of injuries, but Sims really struggled that whole season, and they didn't really find their groove until the last couple of games of the year. They found their groove against Green Bay, and then they rolled into the Super Bowl. But 2018 was so balanced. That offense was great. They bludgeoned everybody. They averaged 160 yards a game on the ground, and they had 5 yards of carry, and Eli didn't turn the ball over. Eli led the league in interceptions the year before. So I think that if Daniel Jones has that, we'll go a little bit better. 24 and 12, like his rookie season, 24 and 12, and no, maybe he loses
four
6 fumbles, whatever, but nothing extraordinary. If Daniel Jones can have like a turnover again, I would love him to average less than a turnover game, but if he has 17 total turnovers, I think that's good enough for the Giants to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'm going to say about Daniel Jones. For me, it's less about the stats and more about situational football. I'm going to give my stat predictions of what I think he's going to do, but for me, it's more about winning games in the big moments. We haven't really seen him like you think about Eli Manning. Tampa was great first start, but you think about Eli Manning, even when he was mediocre early on in his career, he had a knack for the 2-minute drill.
He did.
He closed out games. He found ways to beat good teams and big. We haven't really seen that yet from Daniel Jones, and I hope that we do. But to me, that it's more so that for me, coming up big in the big moments, being good in situational football. Because to me, if he goes out there and has a great fantasy year and throws 31 touchdowns and 12 picks, and he doesn't find ways to win games, I could care less about the stats, like we always say. So for me, that's what's more important. But I actually think Daniel Jones is going to have a good statistical year this year, and I've said that, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, because I look at and obviously a lot's going to come down to the offensive line, and if the offensive line is abysmal, well, good luck. Obviously, we're hoping that the weapons and the weapons are going to help the offensive line, make the offense less predictable. Hopefully, getting Barkley back. We'll see if he's completely healthy to start the year. You had Galladay, you had Toney, you had Ross. You put Shepard in a more, a better role. Now he's strictly a slot. Ingram's not getting as strong a coverage. Slayton's not getting as strong a coverage. It lends itself to a better offense. Rudolph should help dramatically in the red zone. That's somewhere where we really struggled last year, where Jones was actually pretty good his rookie year. I think he threw like 12 touchdowns, no picks in the red zone in his rookie year.
In the red zone, yeah.
And he had like 4 interceptions last year in the red zone. So I think he's actually going to have a pretty strong year, and I think the defense is going to have a lot to do with it. I think the defense is going to create more turnovers. I think it's going to create shorter field position, and I think the Giants will be better in the red zone. So I think with the better surrounding cast, the parts, more familiarity in the scheme year 2, I think Jones has a good year if he could play 17 games. Now, that's still a major question mark for me. Can he stay healthy for 17 games? Because he hasn't been able to stay healthy for 16 games over his first 2 years in the league. If Jones plays a full 17 games and the Giants don't have any insane injuries on the offense, I think he hits 30 touchdown passes. I really do. I think he's going to throw for close to 4,000 yards. I'll go 30 touchdowns. I'll go 14 or 15 picks. I think he throws more picks this year because obviously they're opening up the offense. I think they're going to take more shots down the field. So I do think he turns the ball over a little bit more in terms of interceptions, but I do think he's going to throw a lot more touchdowns this year, and I think it's the supporting cast, and I think the defense is going to help him a lot as well. I think they'll be more aggressive on defense. It'll create shorter. I think about Trubisky, and I hope he's much better than Trubisky, but I think about Trubisky.
He is better than Trubisky.
Yeah. But I think about Trubisky that year where he had a pretty good year. He played 14 games. He threw 24 touchdowns. I think he had 12 picks. And I think about that year, the year the Bears went 11-5. The reason he had a pretty good statistical year was because the defense created the most turnovers in football. They created short field position. So I think the improved defense is going to help Daniel Jones' statistics and the weapons around him. I know a lot of fans may look at that and say, there's no way in hell he could ever throw 30 touchdowns. He threw 24 in his rookie year in 12 games, okay? Didn't have Barkley all of last year. He's more familiar in the scheme. He's got tons of weapons now. I think 30 touchdowns is obtainable. And to be honest with you, Baddog, if he played 17 games and threw less than 27, I'd probably be disappointed with the improved weapons that he has on this team, because I expect the Giants to open it up. But like I said, it's less about the stats for me with Daniel Jones. It's more about situational football. It's more about him not making that head-scratching play like he had against, I think it was the Rams last year on that drive, or the head-scratching play he had against the Steelers. I didn't really bash him for the Watt interception. It was more so the one on the 4-yard line. not making plays like that. The interception that he had in the back of the end zone against the Washington football team, I think maybe that was his rookie year, maybe it was last year, I can't remember. But things like that, situational football, that's what's a lot more important to me with Daniel Jones this year. But I do think he's going to have a pretty strong statistical year.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have to see him outside of the game against Tampa, where I think he was just playing on instinct and not thinking so damn much, which I'd like to see him get back to. But other than that, he really has not had a defining moment with the Giants. You're kind of waiting for that. He really, I mean, against the Eagles, I don't know if it would have been a defining moment, but we should have beat them the first time. He did everything right. It was a great play call. It was a great throw, and Evan Ingram just didn't catch it. But you wait for him to have that game where they're down, say 28-24 against Dallas, and he's got to go 75 yards in a minute 50, and he drives the Giants down and wins the game against a divisional opponent. You wait for that one moment. And I think if he does have that moment, it'll give him so much more confidence. And I think that's the type of thing that he can build off of. But I think because he's failed in these situations, a lot of times this is a reason why I don't feel he has confidence. I think I say it all the time. Physically, he can do it. This is why I have a love-hate relationship with him, because I know what he can do. I watched him play. I mean, again, I'm not an expert, but from what I see, all the tools in the world to succeed as an NFL quarterback. Hurts does not have this crap. I don't care what anybody says. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback, but it's here. Can he get this right? Can he go through the progressions? Can he make the right decision in the biggest moments? That's what's going to define Daniel Jones as a quarterback. It's that. It's not statistics. It is those moments. And I'm not even talking about like the Super Bowl thing. Eli always had that. That's a pedigree. And he had that from year one when he did it against Dallas.
You can't measure that, Baddog. And I'm going to tell you this, right, man, and it's not just the playoffs with Eli Manning. I know a lot of people maybe younger that are listening right now, maybe they're casual football fans. And obviously Eli Manning's reputation is built on his Super Bowl runs.
Yep.
But Eli Manning had it in the regular season. During the 2-minute warning, he became a different quarterback. He just became a different quarterback.
The game against Dallas in 2007 when we were down 14-7. And he had a minute to go, and he drove it down, tied the game before the half.
Yeah,
it's things like that maybe you're not looking at that. But we went down 14-7 with a minute to go, and you're like, oh damn it! The Giants we're up 7-0. Now we're down 14, and he went right down and scored a touchdown, tied the game up. He had a lot of those moments in his career.
Yeah. So to me, that I'm looking more for things like that, situational football, more so than stats. The stats are irrelevant to me. I'm not a fantasy football. Obviously, I don't want him to throw 30 picks. But I'm not a fantasy guy. I want you to win football games. I want you to make the plays when they need to be made. That's what winning quarterbacks do. You look at Tom Brady. Obviously, Brady now has become a great statistical quarterback. Early on in his career, Tom Brady made plays when they needed to be made. He wasn't putting up these incredible stats, but he made plays when they needed to be made, and that's what great quarterbacks do.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Sports Expert, man. Thank you very much, man. What's going on? Sup, guys? And football season is back. I know you're excited. Browns are going to be really good this year. A lot of people picking you guys to go to the Super Bowl. What's going on, man? Glad to see you, buddy.
I just can't wait for football. I got 2 weeks.
Can't wait. And DeGrom says if Wilson had the Pats line, he'd have 4. Russell Wilson's incredible. By no means am I knocking Russell Wilson. He's incredible. But, yeah, he has no support there. I think they've done a horrible job supporting him throughout his career, and it's kind of why he kind of hinted at that he wouldn't mind a trade. A pimp named Slickback. What's going on? He says, I honestly just don't think Jones' main issue of internal clock and awareness can improve. I've never seen a quarterback gain the skills this late into his career. Hey, we're going to find out, man. But that's definitely something that you worry about. I'll be the first to say. Yep. One thing, sometimes, there were certain games where I said, yes, I see it. I see he's improving in those aspects. The Bengals game where he got hurt. I remember we called the game. I was in the hotel room when we were calling the game. And there was one play. It was one of my favorite plays of the season for Daniel Jones. I saw him make a pre-snap adjustment, and there was a clear mismatch on Evan Ingram on the outside. He picked up on it. He saw it, and he hit him for a 50-yard pass down the right sideline. Things like that are things that I'm looking for this year. And I think you saw him start to pick up the offense and improve in that aspect as the year progressed, and then he got hurt, and he fell off a bit. I'm not saying he was near where he needs to be.
And he wasn't healthy.
He wasn't healthy after the injury. But I say to myself, that's why I want to give him the year, because I personally think I did see progress before the injury. I didn't see enough, but I thought he was starting to trend in the right direction. And and I want to give him that opportunity. But I definitely think a pimp named Slickback, there are times where I feel like I'm watching a robot at quarterback. I'll be completely honest. There are times where I feel like he's almost like forcing himself through his progression. So I see where he's coming from with that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Pimp. I that's my biggest contention with him is just it's in between his ears. The rest of it is there. I know it is.
And L.A. Lumet, thank you very much. If Barkley gains around 1,500 yards and 15-plus touchdowns, Daniel Jones will have a good year. That means your O-line is good. And listen, to me, the biggest, obviously the offensive line, but to me, the offense is a different element when Saquon Barkley is going good. Just because of the threat that he poses in the backfield, and the numbers back it up. I mean, Jones is like 23 touchdowns and 9 picks in the 9 games that Barkley's been a part of his career, and I think he's got like 11 touchdowns and 12 picks or 13 picks or something in the 16 games where Barkley doesn't play. So the numbers back it up. He's a different quarterback, and Barkley definitely changes this offense if he's healthy.
I just hope Barkley has enough games to obtain those statistics because I'm not sure that he will.
I
really don't know what
I don't think he's getting 1,500 yards rushing.
What's that?
He's not getting 1,500 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe 1,500 combined yards. I think that's what he meant.
I just hope he's healthy. If he's healthy, again, I just think that makes you – there's just something else the defense really needs to worry about if he's healthy. And that takes a lot of pressure off Daniel Jones and the offensive line or and the receivers. But this offensive line was good at run blocking. And if you have Barkley back there and they get going in the run blocking, it enhances play action huge.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. So hopefully Barkley's healthy, man. Hopefully these guys are just healthy this year. Just let's stay healthy, no serious injuries, and then we'll see what we really are as a team. You know?
Let's have 1 year where we don't have horrible injuries. Yeah.
Barkley and Jones need to stay healthy all year. Galladay needs to stay healthy all year. Let's have our best players stay healthy all year.
The whole line stay healthy.
Right.
The Queen of Cleveland, thank you so much. You can't teach pocket awareness or timing. That is pretty good. You can't teach pocket awareness or timing. It's like trying to teach a quarterback how to score. If I'm a quarterback, if I'm a betting man, I say the Giants take a new quarterback in 2022. We'll see, man. I hope that's not the case. I think Jones does have the talent, but he's got things obviously he has to work on.
I agree. I've said that before, which is why, I'm up and down on Daniel Jones. And again, I say it all the time, you can tell him to do these things, you can tell him to do these things, but eventually you're going to revert back to your old habits. It's just instincts. And I still think he's young enough that this can change, but I think that's why this is the make or break season. I think after 3 years, if he really doesn't know how to do this, he's not going to. So if he's bad, yeah, I think 2022, I think that trading back, I honestly do, was insurance just in case he stinks. And they say, we screwed up. We have draft capital. Hopefully the Bears are terrible and they have a top 5 pick. And if this is, you don't want that to happen. You want them to say, yep, we're re-signing Daniel Jones, giving him a big contract, and we have a top 5 pick. That's really what you want to happen because the Bears suck. But if it's bad, I do think that's why Gettleman made this move to say, if he is bad and we need to trade up to get a we're going to have the capital to do it.
It also gives you the insurance. If he's good, you could do the same thing he did this year and trade back and continue to accrue future draft capital.
If the Giants are good and the Bears are bad, and Daniel Jones steps up and they say, yep, this is the guy, and the Bears are picking 4th, and there's a quarterback there that somebody needs, the Giants are going to get a king's ransom for that.
Yeah.
That's best case. That's what I hope happens.
Ideal scenario though, Bad Dog. Daniel Jones takes off this year.
Yeah,
and we don't have to talk about drafting a quarterback. We don't have to talk about trading for Aaron Rodgers. We say, okay, Daniel Jones, he is good enough to at least give him a 4th year and see if he can progress. But obviously we need to see things improve. And I personally think they will. I don't know if but at the same time, I think at the end of the year, I'm going to feel confident enough to say to myself, yes, I want to see this guy year 4, but I don't know if I'll be confident enough to say, I know he's the long-term answer. That's where I think my head's going to be at the end of the year, but I got to see how this offense progresses this year. I do think Jones will be improved, but we'll see. John, man, thank you very much. That's why I can't take someone serious when they say Eli Manning isn't a Hall of Famer. Guys playing the biggest moments in what sport? Listen, the Eli Manning Hall of Fame debate is worn out, and we say it all the time. First off, I think it's because of fantasy football. I think it's because of stat heads. They look at Eli Manning. The win thing is stupid because, like we always say, it's a team record. You look at Warren Moon. Warren Moon, if you include his playoff record, has a losing record. Warren Moon's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So the record thing to me is irrelevant. It's a team stat. The Giants provided Eli Manning with an atrocious team over the second half of his career. And then the other thing they point to is interceptions. Well, guess what? Warren Moon led the league in interceptions, I think, 3 times. Brett Favre led the league in interceptions 2 or 3 times. When you throw a lot of interceptions over the course of a long career, that means you're doing something right because the team's leaving you in there. So that was just the type of quarterback that Eli Manning was. He was a winner, and he was great in the 2-minute drill, like I said. One of the best I've ever seen in that area. And at the end of the day, there was nobody more clutch than Eli Manning.
Peyton Manning threw more interceptions than Eli did. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah. So,
Eli, listen, people just hate on Eli. And that's all it is. People they don't like Eli. They don't like the Giants. They're just going to hate on him. He's got that look. He's got the Eli face, blah, blah, blah. The guy won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He's one of 5 or 6 quarterbacks to do that. And every one of those quarterbacks is in the Hall of Fame. Okay, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, not 2 Super Bowls, because Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. But Jim Plunkett was not as good as Eli Manning. But all the other guys are in there. You want to talk about terrible statistics in the Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman's got horrible statistics, terrible. But he won 3 Super Bowls because the team was great. So if you're going to put Troy Aikman in the Super Bowl or the Hall of Fame because the team was fantastic around him, you can't keep Eli out of the Hall of Fame because his team sucked.
Yeah,
for the second half of his career.
At the end of the day, the guy has 2 of the greatest moments ever in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer.
You're not keeping him out of the Hall of Fame. Matthew, man, well, thank you so much, man. Defense is having our offense on lockdown. Defense is, you're talking about in training camp. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be easy to go up against our defense training camp, especially when they have no rapport with one another. So I'm sure that's part of it. Nader, man, thank you very much. Sup, fellas, you definitely were missed. Hope you both had a great – yeah, we just kind of, this is kind of like the time of the year where there's not a whole lot to talk about. We take a little bit of a break, and now we're going to be live all the time. We're going to be live throughout the entire season. We'll be live throughout the playoffs, calling some games, whatever. And then, obviously, live throughout the offseason up until the draft. So that's just kind of like a 2.5 month break, whatever it may be. And then we get up and running, man. But I'm glad we're back, and we're getting to talk to you guys, man.
Definitely.
I think I wanted to just I saw Nick said wanted to talk about this, and I'm curious to get your take on this as well. He's referring to what I had to say about Daniel Jones and why I think at the end of the year, I think I'll say to myself, yeah, he improved enough for me to say year 4. He's saying that's not enough for me. He needs to prove he is the guy, not just to prove he deserves a year 4. I'm going to disagree with that statement. That's just my personal opinion. When you say the guy, I'm assuming you mean top 5, 6 quarterback in the league this year. Me personally, and everybody's going to have their own opinions, I don't need that this year. I need a guy that has a dramatic improvement, finds ways to win games, has good situational football, and I say to myself, yeah, I can see this guy continuing to progress and becoming a better quarterback. I can't have a regression. I can't have a small improvement. I need a large improvement, but I don't need to say to myself at the end of the year, this is the guy. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Baddog. Year 3 with Eli Manning, I didn't know he was the guy. And you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks. And then, as they progress, they become better or they become worse. I won't be completely sold that he's the guy at the end of this year unless he has a Josh Allen type year. And I don't expect a Josh Allen type year. I think anybody that's expecting a Josh Allen type year is being unrealistic and you're being unfair. And if you're going into this year saying to yourself he has to be the guy, you're basically saying he's got to have a Josh Allen-like year. He's not going to have that. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's not going to have that. So if those are your expectations this year, just say to yourself, I don't want Daniel Jones the quarterback, period, because he's not going to do that, at least in my opinion. I need dramatic improvement, but I don't need to know he's the guy at the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree and disagree to a point. I understand what Nick's saying. I mean, you want massive improvement. You want Daniel Jones to prove it. I don't think he's meaning when he says the guy. I don't think he's meaning he's got to be a top 5 or 6 quarterback. I think what he's meaning is he's proving that he's getting better, that he takes a big step forward, and that he wins games. Because again,
that I agree with them.
That's right, man. I could be wrong. You really can only gain.
I guess why I misinterpret is because even if he does that, I still don't know if he's the guy.
The Giants, if you see the Giants go 11-6 and he wins a couple games at the end, and he has really, he has some really big games, and he's much more consistent, I think you can say at the end of the year, yep, we have faith enough in Daniel Jones, and we're only going to build around him. We got more draft capital. We can build in the offensive line. We got these weapons. We have. They can look at Saquon Barkley as another guy that you got to know what's going on with him. But you got Galladay for the next 4 years. You got Darius Slayton there. You got Kadarius Toney. So he still has these guys around him. And I think, again, I don't know what I'm just interpreting what he meant was that when he says the guy, he has big moments. He's much more consistent. He does a lot of better things. He's better in the red zone, and the Giants are winning games. He doesn't need to have 4,700. He doesn't need to put Pat Mahomes or Tom Brady numbers, but he needs to be really good in big situations.
Yeah,
that will prove to me he's the guy. That's what I think he meant.
Let's put it this way. At the end of the day, we could phrase it however we want. We need improvement.
Yep.
That's it, man.
I agree.
And some fans will measure it the way they want to measure it. We need improvement, and it can't just be moderate improvement. We need strong improvement based on the supporting cast that he's been presented with this year, the improved defense. I know the offensive line, and I hate to say it, Baddog, it's the world we live in the NFL, and it may not be his fault this year or mainly his fault this year at the end of the year if he struggles, right? If the offensive line is horrendous, that could have a lot to do with why he struggles this year. But Baddog, at the end of the day, in the modern day NFL, if you're going into year 4 on the rookie contract, Gettleman's going to be gone if he sucks. You got to be realistic with yourself. Dan Jones more than likely not going to be a quarterback. So It may not even be his fault. It's tough luck sometimes in the NFL. So he needs to have a big improvement this year. I will agree.
He needs to beat a winning team. I don't think he's done that his entire career.
Yeah.
I don't think he's beat a team with a winning record. So let's start with that.
Yeah. And Irish Rover, man, thank you very much. It's great to see the Giants dynamic duo back together for another year of Big Blue football. Looking forward to sharing Giants football with the best fans in the NFL. Cowboys suck. Just saying. Glad to see you here, Irish Rover, man. Thank you very much. I can't wait to beat the hell out of the Cowboys this year. But thank you so much for tuning in, Irish Rover. And that guy, Jose, what if DJ is average, but we make the playoffs because of the D? He's going to be a quarterback. I'm not going to, tell you what I would do. I don't know what I would do. I'd have to see how he plays as a quarterback, whatever. If we go 11-6, 10-7, we make the playoffs, and Jones has some improvement, some fans may not want to hear this, he's going to be the quarterback going into year 4, at least in my opinion.
Hey, if they make the playoffs, you really be able to get it. Hopefully they do for obvious reasons, but it would be nice to see what he does in that moment.
Of course. But
then you'll really get a gauge, because say the Giants do lose a game 28-24 in the postseason, but Daniel Jones throws for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interception, plays great, and you know that stage is not too big for him, then you know damn well he's the guy. All you need is one performance like that to say, wow, in the biggest stage in an elimination game, he really stepped up and led the team, even in a loss. That's when statistics, you can say, wow, this guy was really good. But I mean, if he's average and we win, yeah, he's coming back. There's no reason to change it at that point.
Yeah, because the way I look at it, Baddog, if he's average, which means, I don't know, like a year like I guess Trubisky had, like I was referring to with the Bears when they made the playoffs, when they went 11-5. If he has a year like that, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks, relies on the strong defense, makes the playoffs, they win 10 games, he's coming back. The period in the story, he's getting a 4th year, because I'm going to tell you why. Who stays on if the Giants make the playoffs? Dave Gettleman.
Yep.
He drafted Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Dan Jones staying on. Alphabet, man, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Woot, the best sports talk duo is back. I could smell the football season approaching. Eli played on average or bad teams for most of his season. That's a fact. And Eli still put up career stats comparable to guys in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Listen, we say it all the time. His supporting cast, his second Super Bowl was horrible. You make an argument the worst supporting cast in the history of football when you look at the overall rankings. And I know they were hurt that year, and I know that they revved it up in the playoffs. They had the 32nd rushing attack, 27th ranked overall defense. We talk about it all the time. He put that team on his back. He should have
won MVP that year.
Should have won MVP. No doubt about it. Mets fanatic, man. Thank you very much. Chris, I don't know why you don't stream the Mets more. Baseball games take 4 hours. and I'm trying to enjoy my summer. But I am going to probably do a Mets game, if not tomorrow, the day after. I'm trying to do more of those, especially as it starts to heat up during the pennant race. I'm going to try to do at least 2 or 3 a week. I'm just busy, man. That's the only reason. No other reason than that. And I'm trying to enjoy a little off time during YouTube. I watch all the Mets games. I enjoy them. I literally watch every single game. But and I taped the last 2 innings tonight. I'm going to watch it when I get home. I get off. I know they won. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll feel like streaming the Mets game tomorrow. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's frustrating for someone.
Man, I've been streaming the Yankees too, and they do take a long time. I mean, the Red Sox game they took 5 hours, man.
The baseball games take a long time.
They take a long time.
It's frustrating for someone like me. And why are you so optimistic about the team? We suck. Talking about the Giants or the Mets? I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm guessing the Mets, since it was a Mets.
I'm not, to be honest with you, right now, I'm not so optimistic. I was super optimistic about the team when they got Baez, and then I got the DeGrom news. So
yeah, he's not coming back till September,
and he may not come back at all. I worry about Tommy John with him.
If I was the Mets, I'd shut him down.
Yeah, I would too.
You're not winning the World Series this year. I'm not messing with.
I think we had a shot if DeGrom was healthy, but with DeGrom being banged up, I'm not messing with it. I'm with you on that. So I am not super optimistic about the Mets.
I still find it amusing the difference between Mets and Yankee fans. Like everybody hates the Yankees. That's part of it. I got Astro fans on my page, and why do they care about the Yankees? I got Mets fans always. The Mets run New York, baby. And I'm like, you do understand. And here I am, and Yankee fans, me, bitching about the Yankees. Same record as the Mets. Same damn record. But somehow Mets fans make you think that they're a World Series bound and that the Yankees are same record.
Well, I'm going to tell you why.
The Yankees are 9 games out in their division. The Mets are leading the division.
I'm going to tell you why, as a Mets fan, and obviously we benefited from a soft division, but why as a Mets fan, and I know we're not the best team, but why, as a Mets fan, I thought if DeGrom was healthy and we got players back, and because we've had a lot of injuries this year. I mean, Lindor's missed a lot of time, Conforto's missed time, Pete's missed time, McNeil. We've had a lot of injuries this year, and if we were healthy going in, you have the most dominant starter. I would have said to myself, all right, at least you got a chance, right? Because you got to verse DeGrom 2-3 times in a series. Our bullpen's been surprising this year, but without DeGrom, there's no chance. I mean, even if DeGrom comes back, I don't think he's going to be what he was this year. So. That's why my hopes out.
I wouldn't mess with DeGrom, man.
That's why my hopes out the window this year.
That guy's amazing.
Yeah, my hopes out I just hope he doesn't need Tommy John surgery. That's what I'm worried about.
That would suck. I hope he doesn't have to have that either. Hopefully, it's just whatever it is, and it's nothing serious. Yeah, he's 100% when he gets done.
And Nick Young says, you guys hear there's suspicions that Wentz's injury is this front, and he'll end up. Yes, I did hear that there's suspicions he may miss the season, which. Obviously, you never root for injuries. And I actually, I've talked about several times, Bad Dog, that I thought Carson Wentz was going to have a huge year this year because he was getting back in the new system. He had a better team around him. The system, rather, that he worked well with the Eagles. But that's just an unfortunate injury. But it is good news for the Giants because the Eagles won't be getting a first-round pick now. I think Wentz had to have 75%. Of the snaps this year, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So
ain't going to happen.
In a way, it's good news for the Giants. Obviously, you never root for injuries. And LA Lumen, thank you very much. Chris, Mets versus Dodgers, that is a must. Yeah, well, I know they play the Dodgers mid-August. I'm going to stream the game tomorrow. Like I said, baseball games are 4.5 hours. It's not like streaming a basketball game. It's like double the time sometimes. And I try to do a game here and there when I can. But yeah, I'll do the game tomorrow, guys. I'll do the game tomorrow.
Yeah, they take time.
Let's see what we got here. Rizzo is great, and Bad Dog was right. Gallo was not. I didn't like Gallo for the Yankees either.
Listen, Booze, people get on me a lot about because you're always so negative. I'm not negative, man. I'm just realistic about things. And again, Joey Gallo to me was a left-handed Sanchez, a left-handed Stanton, a left-handed Judge, a left-handed Glaber. Strike out 170 times. Well, Glaber's not that bad, but strike out 170 times a year, hit 220. That's him. That's what he is. And we had a bunch of that. I love the Rizzo move because Rizzo was a contact guy. Rizzo is a guy that didn't have the greatest average this year, but Rizzo's a professional. And Gallo does nice things. He's athletic. He's a good outfielder. And he's going to hit some home runs. There is no doubt about it. But to me, the Yankees did not need Joey Gallo, but they did need an Anthony Rizzo. So, and listen, man, I love when you got Yankee fans that are 19, 20 years old telling me what the hell's up. And I've been a Yankee fan for 37 years. I think I know a little bit about the Yankees. And I know what they need and what they don't need. I've watched this team for a long time. I've seen ups and downs from this team. And again, I grew up in a different time, so I've seen the game evolve. And I know that a lot of young guys don't understand because all they've seen is guys strike out 220 times a year, hit 220 and hit 40 home runs, and somehow they think that's a good baseball player. That's not a good baseball player. That's an inconsistent baseball player with a ton of power. And that started with Ryan Howard years ago. That's what this has become. But that's not the way baseball games are won. It's nice to have a couple of those players. You can have a couple of those players on your team. Mattingly said this. You can have 2 players like that on your team. You can't have 6. Yeah. Because you're going to have games where you score 19 runs and you're going to look like this team can't be beat. Then you're going to have a week where you score 10 runs in a week when you play a team with good pitching.
Yeah.
So sure, yeah. The Gallo thing, I wasn't super high on the Gallo thing. Didn't really care for it. Understood it. Didn't really like it. Loved the Rizzo deal.
And Slink, we we didn't know the deal, so he told us the deal. The Nick Chubb deal was $36.6 million, so $12.2 million a year. That's, to me, that's good news for Saquon, for us as Giants fans. I would, if Barkley's a good year, I sign up for that in a second. If Barkley's a good year, only a three-year commitment, $36 million. That's good news. And Chubb's obviously been great. That's actually a win for the Giants. If Barkley stays healthy this year, I sign him that deal. I mean, it's basically you structure it in a way that you can get out after 2 if he has a bad injury. So that's actually a win for the Giants. That's good news for the Giants, in my opinion. And Manny, man, thank you very much. You can't tell me him pushing Gardner out of the lineup for a few prospects and no cash isn't something we needed. Well, here's what I'll say, Manny, and I'm not a Yankee fan. I don't watch the games like Bad Dog does. I'm a Met fan. I'll be the first to say I don't watch Yankee games. He's obviously an improvement over Brett Gardner. That goes without saying, right? Brett Gardner was horrible for you guys this year. I just don't think that's the type of player you guys should have been looking to bring in. Because and for the regular season, it may help, right? You got the short porch in right field. He's going to hit his home runs. I look at your lineup, and as a Yankee fan, I don't give a shit about the regular season, Beto. I'm thinking postseason. And in postseason, power arms love hitters like Joey Gallo. They love him. They drool over him. Because Joey Gallo's got more holes in his swing than a piece of Swiss cheese. And the same can be said for Stanton and even Aaron Judge, your best hitter in your lineup. They strike out a ton and they
Sanchez
they beat up on crappy pitching. That's what Joey Gallo is. And the way I would look at it if I were a Yankee fan and I'm a Met fan, I would have said to myself, I want to get a who was the guy? I think it was the Pirates, maybe. There was an outfielder, center fielder. Maybe it wasn't the Pirates. I don't remember. But I would have wanted more of like a 300 that's the type of
element. Frazier was the Pirates.
Frazier would have been a great pickup for the Yankees.
Yeah. Oh, that's the guy I wanted.
That's the type of hitter, if I was a Yankees fan, that I would have wanted in my lineup.
Yeah.
But I do think Rizzo's a good fit. I didn't love the Gallo.
I love Rizzo. I love the Rizzo pick.
Yeah, Gallo's obviously a big improvement. Very good defensively. He's got a ton of power. He's going to hit you home runs. But come postseason, not the type of hitter that I want to add to that lineup because you guys have a ton of hitters already like that.
That's what I'm saying.
And when you go up against the best pitchers of baseball, they're going to blow those guys away.
Yeah, it's my point.
Yeah,
in the playoffs, you're not going to mash your way to it's not going to happen. You need to build runs. It's hard to build runs with guys that strike out 36% of the time. You can't have guys striking out 36% of the time. You can't have a ton of them in your lineup. If there's 2 of them, okay. When there's 5 of them, it's a problem.
And Mets fanatic, I was actually talking. You brought up what he say. Like I said, I took a little break from YouTube. I needed a vacation, and Tino, the guy I was doing the channel with, also got very busy. He got a new job, so he was very busy. But I talked to him the last month of the season. We're going to try to do at least 2 months, especially if they're in the playoff race. We're going to try to do 2 streams a week, and I'll be doing a lot more Mets streams down the stretch. But yeah, I want to get back on the channel. I actually talked to Tino last week. Mid-August, down the stretch, we're going to be doing streams on that channel, talking Mets baseball. And what's your response to him about Gary Sanchez?
My response to him is you're a Mets fan, so your opinion about Gary Sanchez's Yankees means very little to me.
There you go. That's my response. That was respectful.
I mean, I don't know how anybody could possibly say that he's better than I give him credit for. Tell me what he does well besides hit home runs. Struck out again tonight in a big spot. Had a pass ball that tied the game tonight at 2 apiece. He can't catch. He throws well. He's got his arm back. Threw a laser to third base there, and I got a man stealing. Strikes on the biggest spots. Doesn't run. Can't catch the ball. He's a terrible catcher. He's lazy behind the plate, and he hits 210. You tell me what I'm saying. That don't bring up these analytical. I
had to show that default. That to me, and I'm not saying Gallo's not a good player, but to me, it's about fit. And that's just me as a Yankee fan. If I was a Yankee fan, I don't watch the Yankees. I don't care about the analytics. I know that they're valuable. I know that's the way that a lot of people measure their players. I look at it as a fit. And like I said, I'm thinking postseason. I'm not thinking that the guy's got a 139 WRC plus, whatever that is. That's what I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how is this guy going to help me come postseason? How is he going to fit in my lineup? And, well, yes, he's an improvement. I don't think he's the type of player that is going to help you as much as maybe somebody else that you could have looked to bring in to add to your lineup. That's just my take on it. But I do think Rizzo's going to help you. I like Rizzo.
I do too. And, again, These statistics are compiled nonsense. They don't measure a player in a big spot. They don't measure things that are important: on base percentage, batting average, average runners in scoring position. Those things are important. RBIs are important. Those things are important. Home runs, you can ask Ellie Lou this. We're on the same page. I'd much rather have a run from 4 singles than a solo homer any day. The run counts the same. But when you have runners on base, and sometimes home runs and rallies, when you have runners on base, you're making the pitcher work out of the stretch. You're taxing him a lot more, and those pitchers are going to mean a lot more. They just do. You got runners on base. Pitchers under a lot more pressure. It takes a lot more out of them than I gave up a solo home run. So the Yankees are built like that. The Yankees are a solo home run hitting team. Now they've been a little bit better here lately. It's why they've been winning games, because they've been hitting sac flies, getting runners over, bunting, and stealing. Oh my God, they went back to regular baseball, and they've been able to hit some home runs. What do you know? They've been able to manufacture runs, and if they didn't blow some of these leads, they might have won 9 of the last 10 games. It's amazing how when you mix small ball with big ball, you start winning games.
Yeah. Listen, I'm always, especially postseason, I think small ball is how you win. Obviously, you need both, but I think small ball helps. Mets Fanatic says, stop Baddog, so you'd rather have Higgy.
Listen, man, I don't know what to tell you. You're just trolling. You're a Mets fan, buddy. Worry about the fucking Mets. Don't worry about the Yankees, okay? Don't worry about my opinion. It doesn't matter. Higgy may be worse than Sanchez, but that has nothing to do with your first comment, which was, he's better than you give him credit for. Is he better than Higashioka? Yeah. Is he good? No. You can fucking have him. You have Gary Sanchez on your team. You can take that guy.
I honestly don't want Gary Sanchez. I think
you can have him.
I think McCann's done a great job defensively this year. I'm happy with McCann. But it is 12:05. We went late tonight, though, because we started at 9:45. We got a little emotional with the baseball. We love our baseball teams.
I hate Gary Sanchez. I don't know if I've ever hated a Yankee more than I hate Gary Sanchez. I can't stand him. I can't stand upstairs tonight. I'm just screaming at the TV like, this guy absolutely sucks. He just sucks. His face, I want to punch it. I hit a ground ball. I'll just jog to first. Remember a couple of years ago when I think they were playing against Tampa Bay. I can't remember the team. And he hit a ground ball. It should have been an inning ending. It was a slow roller. The guy kicked it. Then they dropped it at second. They got the force, and he didn't run out of the box, and they doubled him off. The game would have been tied if he just ran down first base. It's things like that.
Yeah.
That ticked me off about him. He can hit the ball over the moon. Fantastic.
No, listen, he seems like a polarized. Like I said, I don't watch the Yankees enough, but he seems like he's a polarizing figure in the Yankees fan base. Half the fan base loves him or likes him, and half the fan base can't stand him. But we're going to wrap this up, guys. I just can't say, and I will be live tomorrow. I know a lot of people asked about the Mets. I will be live tomorrow. I'll do a Mets stream with you guys tomorrow. Maybe I'll do another one after that. It is starting to get down to the nitty gritty. So I'll try to make it a point to do some Met games here and there. But I just want to say, man, I'm so excited, guys, that we got the show back. We're starting to get some things to talk about. And just imagine how fun this show is going to be when we actually have real things to talk about. Yes. We have a matchup coming up for the week. Even, recapping preseason games for the week. And hopefully we have a really fun season, which I think we both agree that we will. I think we're going to have a fun team to root for this year. We're going to do this weekly. Next week it'll be on Bad Dog's channel. So anybody that may be new, make sure you subscribe to Bad Dog Sports. We'll be over there next week, maybe previewing a little bit of the preseason game, still bullshitting with you guys a little bit, answered some of your questions. We're getting ready for the season. I'm sure there'll be some storylines and training camp, so on and so forth. But I just can't wait till we really have some things to talk about. I am incredibly appreciative of the entire community. We still had over 500 people in here at one point tonight, Bad Dog, and right now there's not a whole lot to talk about. So I can't say thank you enough to everybody that supports this show, everybody that tunes into the stream. We love doing this. We love talking sports with you guys. We could do this for 5 hours. If we, obviously we'd probably pass out, but we could do this for 5 hours and just, passionately talk about
sports. During the draft.
We do. Yes, we do during the draft. But it's a lot of fun. I love doing it with you, Bad Dog. You know that 4 years now, 4 years strong. We're going to get to experience another 17 in person for one. Giant games, hopefully 18 or 19 or 20 if we make the playoffs to go on a run. But it's going to be a really fun year this year, and I can't wait. I can't wait to do it with all you guys. But thank you to everybody for all the support, everybody who popped in tonight. I'm going to read a couple of these super chats, and I'm going to let Bad Dog close it out. Simon, thank you very much. Seeing Baez in blue and orange today. Yeah, listen, I got to see the end of the game. I taped it. I saw up to the 8th inning. I saw the bomb he hit. That was nice to see. Mets fanatic, man, thank you very much.
Yeah, let me get to this real quick. Like I said, your opinion of me and the Yankees means less than the toilet paper I wipe my ass with. Number 2, anybody that spells you are is a buffoon. So go sit on it and rotate, buddy. You're a freaking Mets fan. All right. I don't give a shit what you think about me. Worry about your damn Mets. Win a freaking World Series. Okay. Do something.
Let's do it.
One since 86. You're going to get on my team, my opinion. Yeah, I'm a buffoon because I don't agree with your opinion because I tell you why Sanchez sucks. You're a Mets fan. What the hell do you know about Gary Sanchez? Nothing. So shut your damn mouth. Shut up. You don't know shit. I guarantee you I know more baseball than you. I guarantee you I've forgotten more baseball than you'll ever know. So you get the fuck out of my face. All right? I ain't putting up with this shit.
Manny, thank you very much. Love it. So excited. Let's go, New York Giants. And John says, how disappointing is the East going to be again? I think the East is going to be – we'll talk more about that in the next stream, Bad Dog John. But, all right, I'm going to give you my quick opinion on that, John, actually, because you're a great subscriber. I think you're a Washington fan. You're a great subscriber of both of ours. But I'm going to give you – I'm still laughing at Bad Dog. I'm going to give you my
don't get on me. Man, I'll trash talk anybody. Don't mess with me.
I'm going to give you my opinion on the East this year and why I think it's going to be much better. I think the biggest reason this year why the NFC East is going to be a lot better than people think – there were 5 new head coaches in football last year. It was not a normal season, right, Bad Dog? The pandemic, you didn't have a normal offseason to prepare. Having a new head coach obviously put you at a tremendous disadvantage. There were 5 new head coaches last year. 3 were in the NFC East.
Yep.
Now it's the second year. Now you have a whole offseason to prepare. I'm not saying we have a lot of we had this incredible talent in our division, but I don't think we were as bad as we were last year. I think the new coaches had something to do with that. Obviously, we had some injuries too. Dak going down didn't help. Saquon Barkley going down for the Giants didn't help. But I think the NFC East is going to be one of the more improved divisions this year. I don't think we'll be a laughingstock this year.
I definitely think that the division is going to improve. I just do. I think that you saw, like I said, Dallas, you worry about their secondary. Remember, they didn't have Dak Prescott most of the year last year. So that's obviously a huge loss. There's no doubt about that. Washington, again, Fitzpatrick, you don't know, but he's going to be better than Dwayne Haskins. Yeah. I mean, it's an improvement. And they got another year under Ron Rivera, who's a great head coach. And again, you expect the Giants to improve with all the offseason acquisitions that they made. So I think the NFC it's not going to be the best division in football, but I definitely think it's going to improve. And I'm not just saying this because I can't stand the Eagles. I just don't think that they're going to be in the mix. I think they have more questions than any team in this division. And while Dallas, Giants, and Washington all have questions, I think that they are improved. And I think this division will be a lot better. And I think you're going to see a team over 500 in this division, maybe 2, but I think that it'll be a better division. It'll be more respectful again this year.
Yeah. And MJZ, love you too. Love all you guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Bad Dog, say what you got to say, my man.
I love you guys. I love you guys and girls. You've been amazing supporters of this show for 4 years, and it's getting better, and it's going to get better. And this is going to be a great year. Obviously, I appreciate all your support. My Yankee stuff, which has really taken off, and I appreciate. As you can see, I get very passionate about the Yankees. They're my favorite team, and me, I will argue baseball all that because I will argue, especially with these analytical people. I will argue until the day I die with that. But I love you guys, man, and I'm looking forward to Giants football. There's no doubt about this. It's great to have this show back. It's my favorite thing I do on YouTube. We did take an extended break, and like Chris said, there just wasn't a lot to talk about. It's hard to do a show every week just talking about speculation and what ifs and what could be's, and even tonight and maybe next week we won't have a ton to talk about. Just talk about some of the things that are going on in training, right? Recaps and injuries and performances. But when we get into the preseason, we have games to start talking about and performances on the field. Obviously, we'll have a lot more to talk about. And season's going to be here before you know it. But I'm so glad to have this show back, and always glad to share it with the best chat and supporters on YouTube. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun this year. I'm going to let Bad Dog know now. He may not know. I'm sure you'll do I cannot do the first one. So the first one will be on your channel, and then maybe we'll do the second one on mine, third one on yours. I have a prior engagement, so I can't do
the first one is definitely going to be on my channel because it's the day of my 24-hour stream for charity.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
So,
August 14th, I'll be live for 24 hours, and I happen to notice that that's the first game against the Jets, so
yeah.
I will be calling that game in the middle of that. So come on over. I'll have DWG in his house with me for that. We're going to shave my head on stream. I'm going to do a lot of other crap. So,
Yeah,
I'll be available at any time during that 24 hours, Chris. You always
I'm sure I'll find time. The fantasy league I've been doing for 15 years, that is the only day they could have done the draft. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm going to watch the Giant Jet game. I'm taping it, and I'm sure I'll be back to watch its totality and have a video up. But, I'm not going to be able to stream it, unfortunately. But I'll be streaming the other 2 preseason games. First one will be on Baddog, second one on mine, third one his. I guess we'll start the season on mine or whatever. We'll get 8 and 8 games. Doesn't matter. But, that's what we're going to do. First game will be on his channel. He'll be doing it solo during his 24-hour stream. But then second game will be over here, and I will be doing the last 2 preseason games. But Baddog, do what you do. Close it out. Thank you guys for being here.
You guys are the best. Enjoy the rest of your weekend if we don't see you. It is from the Entertainment Talking Sports. It's the Bad Diggity Dizzle. We out. Peace.